What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Too Pop to Handle. I'm your host, Andrew Nucatola, your pop culture best friend, and today I am simply giving the people what they want. We are here with a very special guest and a very special episode. I asked on my Instagram story 2 weeks ago now if you guys wanted me to bring Delani back on, our official Taylor Swift correspondent, as I like to call her on the show. If you wanted me to bring her back on and do another album breakdown episode like we did with the Tortured Poets Department, 97% of people voted yes, which means we got to give the people what they want. So I am very happy to welcome Miss Delani back to the podcast. Hello, Miss Girl. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you for having me. I do
Uh,
have beef with 3% of people, but that's fine.
I will say the 3% was only one person because I checked because it'll tell me. And A, I don't know who the person was. And B, I was like, how does one person equal 3%? But you know what? Much like the election, percentages don't make sense anymore. So it's just like
So true.
we're just living in the blind. But for the 97% who did want this, welcome to the life. I almost said Georgia Post Apartment. She really doing the two T's back to back really messes with my head because I'm like torture.
Real.
The life of a tortured poet. I'm like, what the fuck is this album called? However, welcome to the Life of a Showgirl album breakdown. If you are new here, this is your first time joining us, hello, welcome. Delaney and I did this for Tortured Poets Department. And we were just joking saying this album is much more digestible and not have to, we don't have to put on like our Shakespeare pants to, break this down for you guys. So I think this is going to be Tortured Poets was so much fun, but that album was so depressing and so much to really chew through and digest in like the most respectful way. I think I'm really excited for this because I think this is just going to be silly, yappy, twirling our hair, kicking our feet, because that's exactly what this album is. So buckle up. We are going to go track by track of this album, talk about the lyrics, some production things, talk about just like the messaging throughout the album and kind of similar themes that we see through the songs here and there. But before we get into that, we will chit chat just a little bit about Delaney and I. So if you do not know, Delaney and I met on the internet. So just like your parents always say, don't talk to strangers on the internet, don't listen to them, because Delaney and I have now been friends. I was trying to do the math. It's been some time. Like it's been
Yeah.
almost 20
Like
years.
we're going on 20 years
Yeah,
at
like
this
we
point.
met
Yeah.
in 2009, it had to be on the
Yeah.
Teen Jonas.
2008, 9, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, on the Jonas Brothers fan club. So like we have been through not just internet things, but like Taylor Swift albums have always been something that I feel like her and I have always bonded over. And like I think it was 1989 was the first time we stayed up until midnight and like decoded the album together, and it just kind of became a thing. And we've always kind of used Taylor. I mean, we talk all the like regularly as well, just as friends. But like Taylor albums have always been like an anchor in our friendship, where we are like, oh my god, this is coming out. How do we digest this? And now with the podcast, I was like, well, we do this anyway. Like we're doing this anyway via text. Why not get on a mic and like share it with the people? So alas, we are here and I am very excited. Delaney, do you want to give any insight? Maybe like your favorite Taylor album, your favorite Taylor era, things like this, a little like back. I'm totally throwing this at her blind. I did not tell her I was going to ask this, but like give the people some background. Like when did you become a fan? Things like that in case they don't know.
Yeah. So allow me to age myself. I heard our song on MySpace in 2006. And that was the moment for
Yep.
me. My favorite album is The Torture Poets Department. I feel like she just gets better and better every time. So a lot of like my top ranked albums in her discography are her more recent releases, but I do love them all.
Yeah.
And they've all been my favorite album of hers at some point in time.
Yeah. Well, you were like
Um,
a hardcore Reputation girly. Like
oh yeah.
you're a big Taylor girl in general, but I feel like when I think of Delaney and a Taylor album, I think of you and Reputation almost like as like kindred spirits, because you were so, I mean, we all love Reputation, but like that, like how I feel like I am with like 1989 or Speak Now is how I picture you with Reputation.
It was my entire personality for like a
Yeah.
solid 8 years. So yeah,
As it should have been,
100%.
that
So
album
true.
was unlike anything we've ever gotten.
I do love that album so much, and I do yearn for the vault tracks so bad. So I do hope we get them eventually. But yeah, Torture Poets really is the one that dethroned Reputation as my number one album, and I do love her. I'm a big lyric girly. Um, so we do have a lot to chat about in this album in that regard, but positive from me at
Yes.
least. But yeah, I just love Taylor. I've loved her for 20 years. She's put so many of like my feelings into words when I didn't know how. So I resonate with like all of her music very, very deeply. So there's one thing I love to do, and it's yap about Taylor Swift. So I'm
And
excited.
that is what the people want. They want to hear people talk about Taylor Swift. I love that you said that you're a lyric girly because I think what's fun about specifically this album is that I am a production person. Like I love obviously lyrics are very important, but they're to me like if I can listen to a song and like the beat, like I mean, even listening to like there's certain like Charlie XCX or Beyonce songs, like the lyrics aren't groundbreaking. Even Taylor Swift songs, like like How You Get the Girl, love. The lyrics, subpar, but it's a good song. I Wish You Would, top 5 Taylor songs for me. The lyrics are subpar, but I am a production. I want like an upbeat kind of track where Delani is different and it's more of a lyric girly. So I'm, especially with this album where like the lyrics have been such a hot topic, which like, spoiler alert, these lyrics any more cringy than anything she's given us since the beginning of her career. I just think people don't like her being happy, but like we'll get into that in a second.
Hmm.
Um,
We
I'm
will.
excited for us to have our takes back and forth because like there's some songs like we talked a little bit earlier before we started recording, but I'm like, there's one song specifically that just like will not click for me. And I feel like Delani is going to be the missing link to me clicking with this song. So we will see if that happens. Um, but yeah, just before we get into it, if anybody listens to the show and to Pop the Handle and is now joining this episode, I was saying on the episode where I talked about this when it came out, like the release one, how I was let down by the album because I set my expectations very high. And I think, and that's my own problem. Like that is, it's not that it's a bad album by all means. It's just I was really expecting like a big pop, like I was expecting like 12 new romantics, which I knew I shouldn't have gotten in the year 2025 from Taylor Swift. But I think like between like the marketing and things like that, I just felt like there was a disconnect there. I've now since gotten over that and have like swallowed my pride and been like, no, like I shouldn't be holding her to this pedestal of like giving me the perfect album every single time because nobody can do that every single time. How did you feel when you first listened to it? And like, I know you did love it from initial thought, but like, did you feel any of that disconnect or because sometimes I feel like I'm like alone in that because I've had friends like my friend Jacqueline, who I know is listening. She was like, I kind of what I got from the marketing and like the rollout is what I expected on the album. So I'm like, maybe it's a me thing. I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but I was like, I feel like Delaney will have some good insight as well.
Yeah, no, I completely get what you're saying. A first listen, I kind of try to throw away a lot of those expectations when I listened initially, so I wasn't necessarily let down, but at first I was kind of like I see the disconnect that people are kind of talking about, but then I kind of reflected back and I thought more about it. And the only thing that she ever really said is just simply that these songs were produced by Max Martin and Shellback.
Yeah.
And I think where people got confused, and again like myself included, is she made this playlist of all of her Max Martin and Shellback songs, and some songs are a little bit reminiscent there, but a lot of this is a different sound
Yeah.
from
I
those
think
songs.
me
So
included, I think that we took that playlist too literally, but
yes,
because with Taylor, like she's not very transparent with things. Like she loves an Easter egg. So when she gives us something so she's never given us a mood board for an album ever.
right,
Like
yeah,
intersonically, we obviously like, we knew Tortured Poets Apartment was like black and gray. We knew Midnights with like the glittery pen and that vibe. And I know people are arguing like when Midnights kind of missed the mark with the marketing as well, but that's another, that's another
that's another
conversation.
episode.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think for the first time she gave us something so on the nose sonically to look at. So I was like, oh my God, this is what we're getting. And then I was like, oh, it's not. And once I got over that, I was like, oh no, it's a fun album. Like it's good.
Right.
It's good pop music. I just expected more like, I don't want to say bubblegum pop because that's not what I mean, but like that like traditional all upbeat. Like I just didn't expect a song
Yes.
like Father Figure or Eldest Daughter on an album like this because I was like, oh, we got the sad shit, the slow shit out of the way. Poets. But then I think like even 1989 has a slow song and like, like she's always going to do it. So I'm like, again, it was my own fault that I like put that expectation on it. But that's just where I lay. So also anybody new here who's listening and is like wondering as I'm giving my takes, like where I kind of come from, I wanted to get that out of the way before everyone's like, I thought you liked Taylor Swift. What are you talking about? I love Taylor Swift. I dress for the occasion. I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. I always have been, always will be. But I felt that disconnect. And I'm actually happy that we waited like a week or so extra to do this because it kind of let me marinate with it a little more and be like, oh no, like when you strip back XYZ from it, like it fucking slaps. So I think without further ado, let's hop into what both of us agree is Taylor Swift's best lead single, honestly, almost ever. Like,
Yeah.
or at least in recent years with the fate of Ophelia. I mean, talk about an album opener.
I mean, it's objectively one of her best album openers, one of her best lead singles. In terms of lead single, I'm a little bit biased to other songs like Look What You Made Me Do and Antihero, but like removing my personal opinion from it, this I think has to be her best. It's incredible.
Totally. Yeah, it's so good. And like the thing with like Taylor, like with her lead singles, like we went through those eras where we did get like one track before an album. Like we got Never Ever Getting Back Together for Red. We got Shake It Off for 1989. We got Look What You Made Me Do for Reputation. We got, we got all these we even got two lead singles for Lover. We got Me and You Need to Calm Down, which
Hmm.
kind of Taylor likes to do this thing, and I say this again with love because I love cringy, bad pop music, but like she doesn't always give us the best track as the lead single, kind of intentionally. She kind of wants to like catch people in this like net and be like, is this what she's putting out? Like when you look at Taylor's discography and you look at her lead singles, they're not always to the level in which we know that she can perform. They're great songs, but it's not All Too Well. It's not Dear John. It's
Hmm.
not lyrically, sonically always the most like incredible thing intentionally. So I think the fact that like this single fully like it's just lyrically great, sonically great. It's like hitting the mark exactly where we need to be, like commercially, in terms of like the general public being able to enjoy it because it is so sticky and catchy. I think she nailed it, which like I used to pray for times like these for like the perfect lead single from Taylor, and we finally got it. And now, before we get into the song, I also wanted to talk about the music video because it's also one of my favorite videos she's done in a long time. And like her videos are always great. Like, but like this video is so incredibly done.
I love it. I remember watching it on the big screen in the movie theater was
Game
genius,
changer.
first off.
Game changer.
So smart of her because I mean, the quality was great. There was so much to look at, and that's
Yeah.
just the nature of the video in general. I think she said that there's like 100 Easter eggs in this video. I have
Right.
not watched it back to find all of them,
Me
but
neither. I'm like, that is a job
like
for somebody else.
right, like I don't currently do not have the time,
Yeah.
but I trust and believe that there are. So
Totally.
like all over the place. But yeah, I love it. I love how it's kind of like this one take sort of vibe, and I just think it's so fun. It captures these different showgirl eras all throughout. I think it really sets the scene for not
Yes.
just the song, but for the album in general and kind of what we're speaking about. I love it. It's tied for number one with Look What You Made Me Do is my favorite music video for her. I love it.
Yeah, it's incredible. I think like watching it in the theater, I tweeted this, I texted you this, I posted it, I talked about it on the podcast. Like watching this music video, I went into the movie on release day being like, I'm not in love with this album. Like, why am I seeing this movie? Like, is this going to change anything? Within the first 3 minutes and 30 seconds seeing that music video, I was like, it makes sense now. Like it
Uh-huh.
clicked and I was like, oh, it's not Vegas showgirls. It is showgirls through time. And that was the piece that I needed to get over and swallow my pride to be like, oh shit, like, duh, now it makes sense. And like, that's kind of where I say, like, I wish she kind of leaned in on that a little bit more in the lead up. But I am really glad that she ended up doing the variants with the other showgirls after the fact. I guess to kind of keep the music video a little more under wraps so we didn't know what to expect. But I do
Yeah.
kind of wish she switched it so could be like, oh, wait, why is she now dressed as like a 70s diva? Now she's dressed as this. And like there were all these different looks. I think that just like spoke to the album so much. And I was like, this is what I personally needed. And it immediately just like everything fell into place. And I was like, boom, I get it now.
Yes, and I think one of the things that people were talking about too with that disconnect is a lot of the imagery of the album and all these album covers with this elaborate showgirl on it. But if you remember on New Heights, she said this album is not the showgirl, it's the
The
life
life
of the
of,
showgirl
yeah,
from behind. So on the cover, like both literal album cover and like her persona, this is what you see, but when you like actually look behind the curtain, i.e., listen to the music, this is
totally.
what's going on behind the scenes. So I think the whole premise of it, music video included in this conversation is just
It all
genius.
like wraps it up and makes it,
Hmm.
yeah. So now
Exactly.
onto the song. I love the difference in the chorus and the verses. The verses are a little mysterious and they're kind of like, I almost feel like it's like she could be like a spy or something the way it sounds. Like it's so like eerie
It's
and like
vibey, like
yeah, and then it like explodes into this like fun upbeat track, and it was just like I remember listening to it the first time and I was like, whoa, like this is not where I expected this to go. And I was confused at the first listen because again with my whatever expectation, but I was like, oh my god, whoa, like we are fully just like exploding into it. And I think it gives such a good idea of like how she's kind of gone into this cycle of her life where like things were a little dark for a little bit, Tortured Poets Department, all of that jazz. But then Travis came and like she kind of, it all clicked. And, not to say that Travis is the only reason that she's happy now, of course. I think the Eras Tour just being what the Eras Tour was, I think it was so kismet that she was on the Eras Tour while she was going through what she was with Joe and with Maddie, and like being around 60,000 fans every single night was like had to just like heal something in her. And then to
Mhm.
add the man that she's been waiting for her entire life to finally come in at the same time, it's like I just think it all fell into place so well, and it really captures that essence of that era of her life.
Yes, I completely agree. One that like I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. I love the line she says, and if you'd never come for me, I might have drowned in my melancholy, just reminding us like Travis literally had a friendship bracelet and a podcast and a dream, called out to Taylor Swift, shot his shot, and like look at where we are now. Like literally, she is saying like if she wouldn't have they would not have crossed paths had Travis not said that on the podcast. Like we would have been living in such a different narrative. And she's like, I would have drowned in my melancholy. I would have been so depressed. And like you spoke about me on a podcast, and I was like, huh, maybe I should give this other man who looks nothing like anybody I've ever dated and personality wise is completely opposite of my last four exes. Why not give it a shot? And like,
Right.
you
I mean, he
know,
was sending a bat signal, and I
quite
think that's what she's
literally.
always kind of wanted.
Yeah. I mean, she
Like,
said it. She wants the jukebox
yeah,
outside the window.
yep, 100%.
And she goes on into the chorus saying, all the time I sat alone in my tower, you were just honing your powers. Now I can see it all. It's literally like you just had the fairy tale situation she's been dreaming about. She's been sitting in her tower like Rapunzel, waiting for somebody to come and like sweep her off her feet. And like she's had these people try to, which we'll get into later with like kind of the idea of like now Travis meeting her fame level kind of thing. But it's like it's so nice to see her like with somebody who gets who she is. Cause Travis Kelce is also Travis Kelce without Taylor Swift. Like he is also huge in terms of like sports and football and like that whole thing. So it's like, it's nice that like she's able to be like, you came, you honed your powers and like picked me up. Which then she said late at night, you dug me out of my grave. Like she was depressed. Like she was so sad.
She thought love was dead. She was, and if that's something you've been searching for your whole life and it just ends unexpectedly in one way or another, you're
Yeah.
like, well, now what am I doing? My life feels over. This is what I thought was going to be the rest of my life. So now my life's over. And
Right.
she thought love was dead. And he
Yeah, and
said,
like
just
when you
kidding.
look at like right, literally when you look at like what happened in like on eras with like her and Joe breaking up, which I still think back to like the first listen of Tortured Poets Apart and being like, oh my God, this is not about Joe. Like her, I still stand by like I think her and Joe are honestly on very fine. They're not friends, but I think they are like I think it was a very mature break for the most part. Like I think it was just like, hey, this is not we're going in different paths, and like yeah, it sucked and there was heartbreak and she's not thrilled over it, however it came out. But like I remember being so shocked that like Joe was not the tortured poet in like
Yeah.
in the
Well, and I
conversation.
think I think part of it was like he's so private, and I think she just has a lot of respect for that.
Yeah,
Because I do think that, she went on this, she's more famous than she's ever been in her
ever
entire
been,
career,
which
which
I
is
thought was impossible.
crazy.
I've said
Yeah.
literally, I was saying it on one of my other episodes. I was like, I remember sitting at the 1989 World Tour, 2015, and being like, she'll never be more famous than this.
I think about this all the time. I thought she was on top of the fucking world then,
Yeah.
and it's like she was doing half of what she's doing now.
No,
It's
it's wild.
wild.
And like part of me is like, damn, I missed that. Like I missed when
I know.
she was like our secret superstar selling out stadiums still, but like nobody people didn't get it. And now I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
everybody gets it. But like obviously love that for her. Like you're doing what
Right.
you need
I'm
to
so
do.
happy for her. I'm so
Yeah.
happy for her. Selfishly, though,
I'm like, God
I
damn
miss
it.
it.
Should have appreciated it more when we had it. Um,
100%.
And I think the lyric that really like everyone knew it was coming, but like it was like, how the hell is Taylor Swift, this incredible master songwriter, going to put the words "keep it 100" in a lyric? And I was talking to my friends Joe, Jacqueline, Megan, and Ashley. We all went to the movie together, and we all were like, thank God that lyric hits the way that it does. Cause it was like I every time I saw it,
It's
I
a
was like,
risk.
how is she going to weave this in? It's the stickiest part of the song to me. I mean, it's what's trending on TikTok. Like they were so smart the way that they went about it with like the TikTok
Hmm.
dance and whatever, but like it is so well done. And I'm so impressed at the way she was able to weave an amateur phrase. Like that is a very
Yes.
lowbrow phrase for Taylor Swift specifically. Like I hate to put her on a pedestal, but like she is very smart. That is a very, low hanging fruit term thing, but it hits so well and it makes so much sense and I love it.
It is. to me, one of the catchiest snippets in her entire discography. Immediately on a
Totally.
first listen, I was like bopping around to it. Like I want to do this little like jig, like whenever I hear it,
Yes.
it's perfect. And I love the addition of this modern phrase like that because it is mixed in with some more of this like Shakespearean reference. Like the bridge is
Totally.
like full Shakespeare. The bridge is literally lyrics pulled from Hamlet
Yep,
itself. So, and I think the cool thing about that, if you do want to read into it, which I do love to read into things, as we know, but
which is why we're
um,
here.
right, the lyrical styles are, I think, supposed to be reflective of their personalities. Like
Mm,
Taylor is the Shakespearean, old school, like kind of poet. Truly pulling from Shakespeare. And then you have Travis coming in, who's just this lighthearted modern guy, and he's just having a fun, good time.
right.
So juxtaposing those two lyrical styles against each other and that contrast is kind of this opposites attract sort of vibe.
100%.
I
It
love it.
like uh, if you would have told me 6 years ago that Taylor Swift was going to end up with Travis Kelce, not to say Travis Kelce is not smart, not whatever, but like he's just such not the vibe that I don't think Taylor would have thought that she would have went for him either. Like I don't think that was anything that was on anybody's radar, but it makes so much sense. Like seeing the way that they complement each other and like again, I'm not saying Travis Kelce is dumb. I'm not saying all the but like in terms of like the way that like even Taylor made the joke about like oh he's now seen Hamlet like on the podcast like they just have such different interests but it is that like it's not oil and water they literally mix so well together
Right.
because where one of them is a little more versed in something like even Taylor being like I'm suddenly screaming at a TV for football that I've never done in my life before. I mean Taylor Swift literally says on Fearless like it's like you're not going to date the boy in the football team like that's not the most important thing in life and like look
Well,
who's
here we are.
look who bought the ring, Taylor, the boy on the football team. Like we just loved, it's so cool to see that like she did kind of go off the beaten path. And like you said, they have such different perspectives and personalities, and it just worked so well.
Yeah.
Speaking of like different perspectives, that was a great segue somehow. We're getting a new perspective from Taylor on this album that I'm surprised we haven't gotten from before because Homegirl likes to, remind us of about her family and likes to remind us of like all these things and that she goes through. She's talking a lot about being the eldest daughter, which maybe I'm missing something, but I don't think she's ever really sung about being the eldest. She talked about her brother and her family here and there, but never like that weight of being the eldest daughter. So she says the eldest daughter of a nobleman, Ophelia lived in fantasy, kind of tying, her to Ophelia and things like that. And I just think it's really interesting that this new theme she's introducing so far into her career.
This literally just clicked right now as we were talking. But when she says like Ophelia lived in fantasy, I think that's kind of reminiscent of I Hate It Here from Torture Poets Department. Like,
Oh,
like she has to create this fantasy land so she doesn't
yeah.
go
Oh my God,
crazy.
totally. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's truly Ophelia in Hamlet.
And that's like the
And I think,
tower she's in. She's like alone in this
yes,
fantasy tower because she's like, fuck my life. What am I doing? Like,
one
love is
exactly.
dead. Yeah.
Yes, and I think that this like sentiment she has sung a lot in the past about like having a lot of like pressure, like weight on her shoulders, but like this is the first time you're right that she's really ever referenced it in this way. And I almost think too it's like yes, speaking to like maybe a familial dynamic and stuff like that, but also just like this societal pressure
Right.
of pe the way people put her on a pedestal and just like also want her to like solve the world's problems and like be
Yeah.
this
Like she
perfect
has to be the
person.
one. Yeah. She's the one who has to speak up about politics and stuff, which she does. And people somehow forget every single time. And I'm like,
Yeah.
she's always been, we don't need to get into it, but she's always
We
been
know,
very
but like
vocal about it. So every
we
time I
know
see
where she
people,
stands and
yeah,
people
whenever
just
I see
conveniently
people
forget. Yeah.
forget it, I'm like, do we not remember like the tray of cookies? Do you not remember her like this? Well,
Right.
they weren't there, but like let's not get into that. That's another
You know.
can of worms to open. But yeah, exactly. It's like she has all of these societal pressures kind of on her. And just kind of moving through the song, she switches up the pre-chorus from "If You Never Come for Me." She says, "I would have lived in from melancholy" for the first one. The second one is to purgatory. So she's just like, expressing how like she's really kind of tried to play it safe. I feel like her entire career, she's never really poked the bear outside of her exes, and that this is the most stereotypical Taylor Swift sentence I'm ever going to say, but Taylor Swift is known for writing songs about her exes. That is not a dig. That is just a fact. That is what her
And
albums start cycled around. And she would only ever target them minus like Kanye and Katie. Like those were the two who ever kind of caught strays really for the most part, which like
mhm.
not even strays, like deserved. It was fair. this is the first time on an album I feel as if we're seeing Taylor poking the bear at other people than people she's dated. You know, we're seeing her kind of snap back at people who have wronged her, which we'll get into in the as we keep going. I don't want to spoil anything, but like I think she is really feeling this safety net in her life for the first time where she's like, I can fight back and I can, say like, hey, like I don't need to be the nice girl anymore. Not that she's mean or evil, but like she can, give her side of the story, which I feel like she's been afraid to in a while.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I also think like describing this as a purgatory like really carries a lot of weight. And if you don't mind, I will go a little
I was
English
gonna
teacher
say,
here.
please go English teacher because I know you are ready for it.
I do love doing this. But so I read Dante's Inferno in high school. Shout out to Miss Grabowski. But
Hope she's
in
listening.
I know, I hope she's your biggest fan.
Yeah.
Um But in Dante's Inferno, they talk about how people end up in purgatory rather than hell because they tried to like pray for forgiveness before they died for all of their sins. And that
Hmm.
reminds me as like a callback to the prophecy, which is this song of like endlessly begging for
Right.
somebody to rewrite her fate. And then you have Travis, walking in and just completely changing the prophecy and kind of giving this sense that he's like forgiven her for all of her sins that have
Yeah.
been cast upon her, like dating too many people, writing songs about exes, like whatever. And he's like, I don't care about any of that.
Yeah. He's
And
like, who
I
are you today? Who is Taylor Swift in current day?
exactly.
That's all I care about.
And I love that for her. And I just think that that's like a really beautiful way to reference him and kind of highlight how he's really done that for her. So not to make this all about Travis Kelce, because it's certainly not,
But it is.
but it
At
is.
least, yeah,
And we love
like
that for her.
for and like in a respectful way. Like it should be because this has been such a 180 in her life, like it's been such a
Yes.
different it's like I was talking about it. I called Delani after I saw Taylor on Fallon. I talked about it on the podcast as well. But like being in a room with Taylor Swift in the year 2025, after I met her during Reputation, I've seen her do like I've been to so many tours, I've seen her in so many different situations, and like seeing being in the room with her at Fallon, I could literally feel a happiness energy radiating off of her. Like it is not and it's not something that you could like put on for cameras, I don't think either. Like I genuinely feel like she has never just like buzzed the way that she is buzzing and she's just so happy and like this idea of she can poke the bear a little bit and like doesn't need to play it safe anymore and she is so happy and she's content and like it just feels like everything it's hard to say like everything fell into place for Taylor Swift because like she's done well for herself in her career. She's had a few slip ups, things like that, but not that people doing her wrong, I should say. But like it's like to see things falling into place the way that she's always wanted it. It's like wow, it really is kind of like in Wish List when she just wants these simple things, she's finally
Hmm.
gotten them. So it's nice to see all of this kind of come full circle. And then the
Yes.
final thing on this track is just when she goes into the part where she says, "You wrap around me like a chain, a crown, a vine," and she does those claps after it. It just tickles my brain so well. And like that change in the production, just like it, because she is kind of repetitive in this song in terms of like the lyrics, they change a little bit, but it's like just changing one word. She does keep a lot of it the same in the pre chorus, but changing that and adding that little thing, it just like pulls you back in and it's like, oh, no, we're still here.
Yes, the double claps scratch my brain in the most perfect way. I was literally driving to the movie with my friends and I was like, wait, before we go inside, we have to learn where the double claps are because it's the best part of the song
No,
and I have to do them when when the song plays.
literally. It's so good.
It's so good.
Um,
And I think that this song is like truly just full of like all of the narcotics she was talking about and Who's Afraid of Little Old Me.
totally.
Like
Yeah.
it's just
It's
riddled throughout.
that.
It's so
Yeah.
catchy. It's an earworm. It's stuck in your head all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah, well she was even saying that the same when she wrote like Ophelia is the same feeling she had when she wrote Can't You See like You Belong With Me. So
Hmm.
it's like for her to like have that spark again in songwriting in that sense, like to call and there's a lot of fearless kind of callbacks or like esque things on this album that I found, or at least I not that she's doing it intentionally, but it just seems
Hmm.
like she's that like bright-eyed little girl again and just like
I have a
happy and in
comment
love.
about this we will circle back to at the end.
Fabulous. Okay,
Hold
sounds
that
good.
thought.
Holding. And I have a few things like that. So we'll chat about it. But
Perfect.
moving on to track 2, Elizabeth Taylor. Now, I will say this song I go back and some days I love this song and some days I'm like I can skip it. And I know that's a very controversial take because a lot of people think this is like top 3 on the album. And I think this is something that I'm finding with a lot of the songs is that I just like there's like great parts of a lot of the songs, but for some reason for me, this song, like again, like some days I fucking love it and I'm like, cry my eyes, but like screaming it. And then I'm like, something with like the cadence of it, sometimes it just feels a little off for me. I don't know why. And I'm not like asking you to like solve that. It's just like something about this song sometimes feels like I'm like running on a treadmill and can't catch up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite on a first listen. It's grown on me a lot since then, and I
Hmm.
think it's really for me like the verses are like so like kind of like airy and light, and then
Yes.
it just like dives into this dark
Maybe that's it. Like
sound.
the juxtaposition of like the two
Yes.
completely different, where like on some songs I like it a lot, and some songs I'm like, whoa. But anyway, getting into it, I actually found this out literally while I was doing this research. But so the first line, she says, that view of Portofino was on my mind when you called me at the Plaza Atheny. And I was like, what is she talking about? Like, what? She's always just saying words. So I was like, let me look into this. And I knew that Elizabeth Taylor had lived at the Plaza Hotel in the 50s. So like, I was like, she says the Plaza, like, whatever. And then I found out that Richard Burton proposed to her in Portofino in the 60s. So to me, it's like she's saying she's putting herself in Elizabeth Taylor's shoes, living at the Plaza, having all this the Plaza is if anyone doesn't know, it's like the most luxurious hotel in New York, or like one of the most. Like it is like thousands of dollars a night to stay at. It's at the top of Central Park. Like it is very la-di-da. Like it is very, very nice. So she's like, I'm dreaming of Portofino and the Plaza. She's dreaming of getting proposed to. She literally is sitting there. Maddie Healy's putting the ring on her finger, but not actually proposing. Joe Healy, oh my God. Joe Alwyn is like 6 years in and they're still not proposed. Like all she wants is to find her husband and like she's dreaming of it. And I just thought that was such a beautiful way to pay homage to Elizabeth Taylor while still giving us perspective of where she was when this era of her life started.
Yes. I agree. And I didn't know any of this Elizabeth Taylor lore until this song came out.
Yeah,
And so it's so interesting, and I think it is a really interesting way to use Elizabeth Taylor as like almost a storytelling device, to kind of like convey her point.
right.
So I really like that. I just think it's unique
Totally.
to
Yeah. To
pull
be
from
able to
that.
put herself in her shoes so specifically, but still, like, I knew what she was. I knew she was singing about like this luxe life that she lives and like she's dreaming of something else, but I couldn't quite place it. And then when I did a little bit of research, it's crazy how long ago it took me 30 seconds to learn all of this. I was like, oh my God, she's a fucking genius. So she goes on to say, all the right guys promised they'd stay under the bright lights. They withered away, but you bloom, which is what I was referring to earlier in terms of like all the right guys said that they would stay, but once the bright lights came, they were nowhere to be found. Joe Alwyn didn't want to be in the spotlight. Maddie Healy is Maddie Healy. And like Travis Kelsey is on this level of fame and understands it. And I know this is going to ring home for Delani, but I immediately, upon listening to this, I thought of Would It Be Enough If I Could Never Bring You Peace, which I know is Delani's favorite song of all time, not just Taylor, of all time.
So
And it's
true.
that idea of like, that song was only that album came out what 3 years ago, 4 years ago, like
Yeah, like well, 5 years ago
five. Yeah.
now.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
time is literally
I
fake. Yeah,
know,
that was
scary,
5 years ago.
scary.
That wasn't that long ago where she was like hoping and begging that she was enough to like her fame would. Is that enough? Like like I can never give you the piece that you want. Is that enough? Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But like it's so seeing this now and like matching that spotlight with Travis, it's just so nice because just like it was right in front of our faces. That's what she wanted. And she was just like, it's like when you see a friend dating somebody and there's so many red flags and they don't see them because like I can fix him, I can fix him, I can fix him. And I mean, if you literally like, I can fix him, no, I can't. Like it's so looking back at it, it's just so many things that it's like, holy shit, this was right in front of us the entire time.
Yes, and I could really talk about the piece reference for hours. I will not do that.
Yeah.
But I mean I have a piece tattoo.
Literally
Like
tattooed on her arm. Yeah.
it's just the contrast between peace and that like anxious attachment to the attachment that's just like throughout this album, I think is could be a podcast of its own.
Total
So
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. Moving through this, there's nothing really to dig into this with this line. I just love it so much. She said, "Been number one, but I never had two." Like she's literally like, I've been at the top of the world, but I never had my man, like the one with me. Like I just think it is
yes.
so clever the way that she said it. Like I heard that line, I was like, I love it. Another line that I'm just obsessed with, be my NY when Hollywood hates me. I mean, New York has always been her escape. It's always been this safety place for her during the rep era. I mean, we all remember when she was like allegedly getting carried into the apartment in the suitcase.
Right.
Like
In a
she was
suitcase.
very much in New York for the majority of that dark time because I think she just feels a safety net here. And Delaney wrote really great notes on it. So I'll let you take the mic.
Yeah, no, I just think that like she's always talked about Hollywood and fame in general as being like very cutthroat and difficult. She's not been shy about that ever. And
Never.
then I think you think about the 1989 era where she
Hmm.
starts describing New York as a place where she feels the most like herself or that she was able to find herself or
Yeah.
so I think that's kind of what she's speaking to like you know, be my when Hollywood is getting really cutthroat, you're the person that brings me back down.
Right, totally. I think it's such a, especially like knowing Taylor and like knowing her history with New York. I mean, she lost him, but found herself, and somehow that was everything. Is literally the message on 1989. It's like she literally was able to become. I mean, the all 1989 era will always be famous. Like she was
So
truly
true.
in this, it was a different person. Like that was a whole, and not in a bad way by all means. Like it was just like the short hair, the girl gang, like she was out and about on the town. The the birthday, like I think about those birthday party pictures with Beyonce, Justin Timber, like doing Jingle
Hmm.
Ball and then leaving to go to her party. Like she was like Gossip Girl would have written pages about her if it was a real thing. Like she was New York's darling, and seeing her still feel that with New York is so nice. And it's like that girl is still inside of there, you know?
Yes, I think you kind of said like that girl is still inside of her. That was when she kind of like it was her first like real like adult album, I think in a
Yeah,
lot
it
of ways.
was
And that album was 1989 was so much about finding yourself.
totally
And so I think I don't know, I really love that kind of like subtle callback. I think it's
100%.
just it really speaks to like her feeling. She said on one of her interviews that all of her friends are saying you with him, you are more like yourself than you've ever been.
Yes,
And so it's
exactly.
just exactly that.
It's literally written in the stars.
Yeah.
She goes on to say, this line cracks me the fuck up. She says, I would trade the Cartier for someone to trust. And then in the background, just kidding. And I say on the podcast all the time, and she's like, one of my favorite genres of music is rich people singing about being rich. Like, I love when they're not, I eat the rich, obviously, but like, I love when they're not subtle about it. Like, like Seven Rings, obsessed. Like, I love a song when they're like, yeah, I am rich. I have a lot of money. And like Taylor is humble in the fact that like she doesn't really talk about the fact that like she's a billionaire. Like, and that's not
Right.
in like a derogatory term. Like she literally is just a billionaire. Like, and good for her. Like you worked for it. But like I love she kind of leaned in a little bit more on this album to being like, no, I know that I am the most famous pop star in the world. And like I am a billionaire. And she's like, no, I'm not gonna trade the Cartier, but like you get the sentiment. Like
Yes.
she's like, I want the love, but like I also love what I've created for myself. I think it's really funny the way that she decided to go about it. This is the first time I feel like maybe not ever, but so transparently, she's like, no, I am like I like the shiny things. Like I like the
Yeah, and
nice things.
I think too it's like Travis allows her to like remember that she's that bitch. She doesn't
Yes.
have to like stifle that down
No.
because he's like, no, but you are though.
Even like
Like,
the outfit she's wearing to like the Chiefs games, like they're expensive outfits. She's wearing like pricey
right.
stuff, and like I'm like, good for you, good. Spend your money, like do it. Like we want to
Yeah.
see this. You are Taylor Swift. I don't want to see you in a flannel and shorts. Wear
Like you're not
something.
wearing Levi. Like you know,
Yeah,
like
be it's less relatable to me when she goes out and like something like humble. I'm like, girl, spend your money. Like
just own it.
yeah, and like I
It's
love that
fine.
she leaned into it here.
Yes. Now, I do like have a separate, like kind of
Yes.
secondary meaning for this song. And she did kind of touch on this in the movie, but I have not stopped thinking about it since. And I think it makes this song, for me, infinitely more interesting and so much more layered. But I think too, there's a realm where every reference that we can tie back to like a muse or Travis or about a man in general is actually about her career. And so
Totally.
when she says something like, Elizabeth Taylor, do you think it's forever? We assume like do you think this relationship is forever, but hold on, what if she's saying Elizabeth Taylor is my do you think my career is forever?
Yeah.
And then she says under bright lights they withered away but you bloom. Is it the new muse that's blooming under the white lights or is she or the bright lights or is she saying even though those men didn't stay, I'm blooming still. My
Right.
career
Yeah.
is still blooming. I can't have fun if I can't have you. She wants to have fun with someone she loves, but her career is her lifeblood that she can't live without. So she's saying, I would trade the Cartier for someone to trust. Just kidding. I wouldn't though, because that means I'm giving up my career.
No, I think this is such a, I did not think of this at all. Like reading this I'm reading this for the first time. I didn't want to read any of Delaney's notes before the conversation 'cause I didn't want to like premeditate what we were going to say. But like reading this in our notes, I'm like, wait, this does make so much sense. And actually, later on in the album, I'll call it out when we get there. There's a song where like, I'm like, there's two or so meanings to this track. I feel like with a few
Mhm.
songs, but like this totally, I could see her kind of giving us that like double entendre. Also considering like it's the life of a showgirl. Yes, it is a lot about her relationship because that's where she is right now. But like this makes so much more sense for the life of a showgirl.
Yeah, at the end of the day, she's still a showgirl.
Right,
Like,
exactly. Like,
you
and
know.
she's always been very poetic in a sense of being able to like give us lyrics that can kind of be interpreted different ways, you know? Like, she's kind of always given us like, this could be about this could be about that, it could be about none of it. And you could have no idea
Mhm.
what's going on because at the end of the day, we don't know Taylor Swift. She might be a close personal friend, but we don't know her. Like,
She
we,
is my sister and close personal friend that I don't know at all.
Right. Like we don't know what she's actually going through or singing about. So like there is a really fun way like I love doing episodes like this because you really can interpret it so many different ways.
Hmm. I think I love the layers of her music. And sometimes, initially on this song, I was like, oh, this is about a muse. This is a romance song. And then as I thought about it more, I'm like, this is so perfect. And she's so good at that. And
Yeah.
I love reading into her music so much because if you don't, you miss
You
so
miss
much of it.
opportunities like this to be like, oh wait, there is a like and to the lyrics of it all. We haven't gotten to I feel like any of the songs that have like the lyrics that people are really stuck on, you know, like I
Hmm.
feel like I'm not a savage, not a bad bitch, would. Those are the ones that are really getting people talking when it comes to like songwriting. But then like I'm like, well, you're listening to these songs and like, yeah, surface level they sound like that. But like then you have a song like Elizabeth Taylor, where we can
Yeah.
dive into so many other meanings. And it's not parasocial to dive into it because it's literally the name of the album.
It's the point. And people
Yeah.
are, just to touch on this, people are forgetting that 22 and All Too Well are in the same damn album.
I
Like, can we
literally
just
can we like
like
Welcome to New York is on the same album as Wildest Dreams, as New Romance. Like, come
come
on.
on.
Like, yeah, this is
Come on.
nothing new. This is nothing new. It's just like it's because she is so famous and she's happy for the first time in a long time that like people see an easy target, they're jumping at it. And I'll like there are some lyrics where I'm like, this is cringy. Like I hate the fact that she says like, did you girl boss too close to the sun? But also like Taylor Swift is a 35-year-old white woman. She is a cringy millennial,
She's a
and that's why we
millennial.
like her.
Like, she
She's
wrote us
always,
gorgeous. She says, I guess I'll just stumble on home to my cats. Like, it's always been there. Like,
yeah, like
it's always been there. It's part of who she is. She's cringy. She's funny. She's a millennial. It's lighthearted. It's supposed to
it's
be. That's the
right.
point. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
And I think we will see it a lot through the album. So we'll pick this back up as
Yes,
we
for
go.
sure.
But this next song, I
It's a
love.
banger. It's a banger.
Opalite is incredible. I love sticky, catchy, cheeky pop music. And this, when I heard the song for the first time, I literally was like we'll get there, but like that end part where it's like the harmonizing. And I was like, I think I'm
Uh-huh.
levitating. Like, I think my feet are off the ground listening to this song.
I was shaking my ass. I was on my
It's,
couch over there, fully
it's
like
so
just it,
good.
it was my favorite on a first listen. I
Yeah.
was shaking my ass.
It's so good. So in the film, she talks about how opalite in its actual like sense is man-made opal and how, you know, sometimes you have to make your own happiness. And I think, you know, you have to create it yourself, which I think is a really important message to remind all of us that like yeah she's Taylor Swift and like it looks like things are great and she's selling out these tours whatever but like sometimes you do have to kind of force it and like fake it till you make it and I can do it with a broken heart like I have to get on the stage and do it but like I'm fucking hurting inside so I think it's a really fun and creative way for her to kind of spin this idea of like you are the source of your own happiness you know like yeah you can find other people and you'll find it together but like I think they couldn't have she couldn't have been as happy as she is now had she not been able to find happiness within herself, you know?
Yes, 100%. And I think there's something like so special too about knowing that that's what she was doing, like really trying hard to make her own happiness and make the best out of everything that life was throwing at her. And then meeting someone who was doing the exact same thing. And then they can come together and make their happiness together in a happy life of their own. And just,
Absolutely.
I love that metaphor. I think it
Yeah.
is
It's
so
really
sweet, wholesome, and just also just a perfect
right.
way to describe it.
Yeah, and in the chorus, she says like you have to make your own sunshine, and that's like literally, yeah. She's like, I had to make it. I had to figure it out myself. Um, I love the opening line. I think it's hilarious where she said, "I had a bad habit of missing lovers past. My brothers used to call it eating out of the trash." I just think it's funny, and also like again, we don't hear her talk about her brother that often, and like.
Hmm.
If you didn't know, her brother is very involved in her career. He is literally the person who is in charge of her licensing. So every time a Taylor Swift song is played, in a show, in a commercial. Like he's the one doing those deals. He is very much involved in her life and career, just kind of in a background spot. So I think it's fun that like she is kind of he's never been hidden by all means, but like I feel like Andrea and Scott have always been very present in her music and at the tours. Andrea's meeting fans, picking people for Loft 89, Rep Room, whatever, every iteration of it. Scott's handing out guitar picks, but Austin kind of like does his own thing and like he'll pop in here and there or whatever. But like I like that she's including him a little bit more. And it almost makes me like, oh my God, like he maybe he's like finding more of a brother in Travis than anybody else. So he is more like present in their life in that sense. So again, parasocial as hell, but like it's just cool to see the way that she talks about him on this album a little bit more than usual.
Yes, I love getting like the little nuggets because we she really doesn't talk about him much, and I think that this is so funny. It's such a nice like personality like
Yeah.
Easter
Like a
egg
little,
of
right.
Austin because it's so funny and honestly so relatable because I've run back to an ex many of time.
Yeah, as
So
have we
Austin,
not?
you're
Yeah.
so real for that because it
Yeah.
is like eating out of the trash. You're so
Literally.
right.
Yeah. It's like you took it out already. Why go back to it?
Right.
And the chorus are just so joyous. Like I literally, that gif of SpongeBob walking around and tossing the flowers. Like that's how I feel listening to this because it's just so fun and it's just like joyous and fun and celebratory. And it's like, yeah, it is all right. Like we were going through shit, but now we figured it out. There's sunshine. We got the opalite, and something that stood out to me immediately upon first listen. And this quote that I'm going to get into after has just like once I heard it the first time, I think about this quote by Taylor Swift so often. Like it is burned into my brain. But she says, my mama told me it's all right. You were dancing through the lightning strikes. And her Vogue 73 questions, they say, if you could say anything to your 19-year-old self, what would you say? And she was like, you're going to become a lightning rod for slut shaming. All you're going to do is date people in your 20s the way that everybody else does, but you are going to be a lightning rod for slut shaming. And as soon as I heard like something about like whenever Taylor says the word lightning or anything, I just think of that quote because it just the way that like she says it so nonchalant and like it's just like yeah like it is what it is but like it happened and I'm like yeah you have kind of been dancing through these lightning strikes of like you're a slut because you dated three people in the span of 2 years. And it's like, that's very
Very
normal.
normal.
Yeah. You're a bad person because you said you didn't say this to Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. And it's like, no, actually, it's on tape of like what Taylor did say. And
Right.
like, she's always kind of gotten these like lightning strikes. So that idea kind of brings me up there. And then also, I think of like the lightning during Delicate when she would like step on the stage. It wasn't lightning necessarily, but it was like, kind of. It was
It was
like
like cracking, yeah.
yeah, and it was like the
Very
light coming
reminiscent of the
through.
lightning. Yes, yes.
Right. And it was like that idea of like, I mean, especially Delicate, like that song is literally her like being like, is it okay that I'm in love with you? Like, is it cool that I said that? Like, she's like always tiptoed around and like even though she does get these like major lightning strikes, she's always kind of played it safe back to that kind of through line of her messaging on this album. And I think it was just a really fun kind of full circle moment. And maybe I am reaching there, but like it's not something that I could like hear and like ignore. I was like, I think about that quote specifically from Vogue 73 Questions all the time. So as soon as I heard it, I was like, boom.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think she used a lot of that like lightning imagery or like cracking
Yes.
imagery throughout all of her promo, like on some Apple
Yeah.
Music stuff. And so I think it is very much like weaved throughout. So I think you're like really on point there, actually.
Yeah. I love that. Like that because it is, you can, again, kind of like with the layers, you can take it what it is. Like you were dancing through lightning and now the sky is opalite. Like, it is literally like the sunshine after the rain, but also like there is a world in which like she has used lightning a lot in her imagery. So the first verse is very like about Taylor and her life. And I think it's cool the way that she switches to the second verse and talks about Travis and his life because we're kind of getting an insight on into her. And so this kind of gets sticky, not in a way that like it's wrong to talk about it, but it is just kind of like what is happening in the conversation. So, and I kind of can see all sides of this party. So I'm kind of excited for us to chat about this a little bit because in on the song, she's singing from Travis. It's like Travis's point of view, or like her a bird's eye looking at Travis while he was dating his ex, Kayla, and says she was in her phone and you were just a pose, which references there's this video of Travis and Kayla that were they were fighting at a table, and he's like, "Can you please get off your phone?" And I actually haven't seen the video. I've just heard about it, and I've seen like stills of it, but I've never watched the whole video because honestly, like I just don't care
Yeah, I
to be
don't
completely
care.
honest. Yeah. And like on the surface, I don't think what Taylor is saying is bad. Maybe it's a little like unnecessary in terms of like, do we need to like throw a stray? No, but it does tell the story of like Travis's side of it, where he was like dating somebody very publicly that it was just like not the right fit, and like that's fine. She also references something that was public. This wasn't like a behind the scenes thing. This wasn't something like Travis told her in secret, exposing Kayla for something like dark secrets, whatever. Like, no, she was on her phone a lot. And like that is her job also. So like I do understand that as well. You know, that's why I can see both sides. And then more recently, if anyone listening doesn't know, Kayla is she hosts like a podcast and she talks about sports a lot. So sports are like a big thing in her world. So it's not the craziest thing for her to be posting about the Super Bowl, but she was like overly vocal about being an Eagles fan this year and like in their face about like you guys lost, haha, the Eagles won, which like yeah, Eagles fans are fucking insane, but like she famously was not an Eagles fan up until recently.
Like
So
there's a motive there. Like let's just
yeah,
call it what it
and
is.
like
Like
I
own
respect
it.
it.
Like
I respect that. Like, yeah, that's fine. Make a funny snide remark. Like, that is fine. But I think, and I'm not like, I don't know these people. I don't care that Taylor wrote about her. I don't care that Kayla posted about Trap. Like, genuinely, I don't give a fuck. I'm listening to the music
right.
because I want to listen to it. But the conversations online and I read that like Kayla's getting like crazy comments and DMs and like that is insane. I just think everybody needs to calm the fuck down because Taylor was wrong for one thing, Kayla was wrong for this. There's a lot we don't know anything that's gone on. Like it's okay to like have an opposing opinion with somebody and like you don't need to threaten them. And it like
Yeah.
yeah.
No, and I definitely think this is a reference here. Like,
Oh,
but
it totally
it
is.
could be like obviously Travis has dated people before. Like, so it's
Right.
just saying that in his past relationships, he maybe felt like a prop at times. And
Sure.
that's fine. I think it's just like a general statement. And like frankly, like no, nobody should be sending anybody any like weird shit on the internet. Like please you
Right.
guys
Like
have got
touch
to fucking
grass.
relax. Yeah,
Yeah.
like log off, please. But
Yeah.
I think I'm not defending it by any means, but I think that's
No.
also like respectfully with peace and love, my girl Kayla, whatever the hell your name is, has not stopped talking about
No, that's the other thing. Like
Travis
she invites it.
for
Like she
yes. So it's
yeah, like
like no one would know that this was about you if you didn't make it known. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
like
and like I was saying in terms of like this was a public thing. Like this isn't like it
right.
was somebody, she's a public figure. They literally were dating. This is the girl that he dated from the TV show, right? Like wasn't that
I don't know. I
I'm
don't know
pretty
anything about this girl. I gotta be
I'm
real. Like
I should have done my research as the host of this podcast, but I am 99% positive that on the dating show that Travis did back whenever, this is the girl that won the show and they were dating from there. And they did date, I want to say they dated for like 3 or 4 years after the
I
show,
have
which
no
like
idea. I don't know if it's the same person or not. I know he did that dating show. People
I
went and watched it when
I
they started
think it
dating.
is.
I did
I could
not.
be wrong. Yeah, no, I was like, respectfully, don't need to learn anything more about this man. I'll learn about it on the album, which I'm learning about it now. But I am very much like it's I don't think Taylor was wrong for putting the lyric in. I don't think Kayla's wrong for posting things. Everybody posts shitty things about their ex and things like that. Like
Yeah, it's
everyone
just
does it.
under a
So
magnifying glass. Like,
yeah, that's the thing.
yeah,
Is the way that people are blowing it up. I'm like, it's just a lyric. Like
it's
and it's not like
fine.
she was like, your ex-girlfriend's a dirty bitch and I fucking hate her. Like,
Right. And for all of the shady comments that she's made about Taylor, which she has made plenty, like I think that this is
yeah.
like really lighthearted and actually not a big deal. It's fine.
Totally.
So,
But I was like, I can't go past this lyric and not talk about it because it is
yeah.
the conversation happening.
Yes.
Going into the bridge, I love this imagery. I think this is really, really great songwriting, and it really a lot of the lyrics, like not full songs, but there are snippets of certain songs and like certain lyrics, excuse me, that really remind me of Taylor's old storytelling in her songs or whatever. So she's or in like just like her metaphors. Like if you think of like in State of Grace and things like she had so many metaphors that she would do And I think this really just gave me that kind of idea where she says, "This is just a storm inside of a teacup, but shelter here with me, my love. This is just a temporary speed bump, but failure brings you freedom." And it's the idea that they both went through these trials and tribulations of dating, but now they found each other and like they can progress. And like it was a storm, but it was inside of a teacup. It was like this big thing to you in the moment, but it was nothing. It's a speed bump. It's like
In the grand scheme
nothing.
of things, it's
Yeah,
just this
nothing
little
you
tiny, yeah.
Right. Nothing you can't get over. So I thought that was really great imagery there. And then honestly, top three moments on the album for me might be my favorite moment on the album is the harmonizing, like I said earlier, where the I can bring you love.
It's
It's
so
so
catchy.
good.
And the Don't You Sweat It Baby after
Yeah.
leading into that last chorus is
Oh.
that part is maybe
Yeah.
my favorite part of the
Yes.
entire album. Like it's
That's
just
the whole
God.
part is what I'm referring to. Like
Yes.
that segment where
Oh,
like from the I can bring you love to the oh, don't just sweat it.
I
Like that whole
love it.
thing. It's so
It's so
good.
fun.
Yeah.
It's
There's a
so
lot
fun.
of like I talk about this later in the episode, but there's a lot of kind of like theatrical moments in this album
Hmm.
that feel very like the theater kid in me is just like my heart swells. So like hearing that harmonization, I think of like a Broadway something where they have like
Yes.
the big feather shaking in front of her, and like as it goes
Uh-huh.
like up a harmony, it's like they're going up the stairs, and
It's
like
perfect.
and then like the feathers go, and she's like, "Don't you sweat it, babe." Like that's how I
It's like
envision
like
it,
a
and it's
quick
just
change like behind the
yes,
feathers. It's
yeah.
perfect.
Or
Yep,
like
it's the
like
imagery is so clear.
Sabrina's like Goldie Hawn reference that she did at the Grammys. She's like running up the stairs and
Yes.
falls, and then she comes out. Like
Yeah.
it gives me like old Hollywood glamour. I
Yes.
love it so
I love
much.
it.
So great. Okay, moving on to father figure. So Delaney did put some notes ahead of what I was saying. And I would love you to lead this one. It says this first line says, "I know we don't want this podcast to be 3 hours long like Torture Poet's Apartment, but I just want to say I could talk about this song for 3 hours." So I'm
And
gonna
I
hand the
could.
mic to you and let you lead this one.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, first off, I not only is this the best song on the album to me, but it is one of the best songs in her discography. I think it is a career highlight and just like truly a masterclass in storytelling. I am obsessed. And I think I was reading through some of your notes as I was typing some of mine. I do think we have different perspectives on the song. So if
Yes.
you want to jump into your part and then we'll just kind of go back and forth because I
Yeah.
I really could talk about this song for hours and I fear if you do let me lead, this will turn into a 3 hour podcast.
Right. So this was one of the songs when I got to it. Sonically, I was like, again, this was not what I was expecting on this album, but I have since swallowed my pride and we can, progress. Because it is a little bit slow, but it picks up a bit here and there. Um, and there's a lot of different ways people are interpreting this song. And like, I'm not saying that my take is correct. I'm not saying Delaney's is correct. We are all simply here. I always say on the podcast, I never want to be like, of a rumor fueling podcast. Like I'm never someone who's like, "Oh my God, Taylor Swift liked this post, so this must mean." It's like, no, like I try to report factual things and like news. But in things like this, like it's fun to kind of dive into like the rumor mill of it all. Cause it's like, why not? But so during the movie, she mentioned how she was really adamant on making sure that the George Michael estate approved her using the term "I can be your father figure" because obviously that is his famous song. To me, as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, she is, to me, making a reference to the idea of like somebody sampling or interpolating her song and not getting proper credit. And if you listen to Father Figure by George Michael and then you listen to this song, I wouldn't, other than the title, like it doesn't feel as reminiscent of the song. Like I've gone back and compared the two, and I also just like I know the song by George Michael. So like I was like, maybe some of it is a little interpolated, but it's not, you wouldn't listen to that song with no knowledge of Father Figure by George Michael and click and be like, oh my God, this is her. There's other songs on this album that sound exactly like other songs by other artists. And like that seems more of like a oh my gosh, why am I completely blanking? A sample of another song. So I was like, oh, this immediately to me lights this idea of the Olivia Rodrigo Cruel Summer situation where Olivia Rodrigo had permission to use New Year's Day on her album. But then with Deja Vu, people were saying that it sounded like Cruel Summer. I don't think it sounds like Cruel Summer personally. I never understood that comparison, but there was something technically musically that they were like, hey, it uses the same notes and the same melody and this. So like it can be considered an interpolation. And then Olivia did have the issue with Good For You, not crediting Paramore there, which I'm not a music producer. I don't care. Quite frankly, if you give credit, if you don't, that's yes, you should give credit where credit is due, of course, but like I'm not gonna sit here and be like Olivia Rodrigo stole this. Like some people are so anti Olivia because of it, and like I am not that person. And if you are that person, that is fine. However, I genuinely do think Taylor and Olivia are fine in terms of like I don't think they hate each other. I think there was just maybe some blurred lines in their relationship, and like maybe like Olivia was a little too excited that her favorite person in the world was taking this time to like bring her under her wing. I mean, Olivia Rodrigo was the face of Fearless, Taylor's version. Let's not forget. Taylor Swift literally let Olivia and Conan be the face of the first re-recorded album. They were doing the entire rollout, calling them the kids. Like, so there was definitely something that had happened, but I don't see Taylor holding a grudge with somebody who is so many years younger than her. I think is more of like a slap on the wrist. And I think Taylor's just very protective of her image and obviously protective of her music and everything because like it was literally ripped away from her. So like rightfully so. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with if Taylor was a little offended by this from Olivia or whatever happened. Like again, I can see all sides. I'm playing devil's advocate, but I immediately was like, "Oh my God, is she confirming this is something relating to that?" I don't know.
See, I didn't get like any Olivia like alarm bells at all when I listened to this song. I think, and this part in particular with like the George Michael credit and stuff, I think is an overall reference to the battle with her masters. And like, don't quote me on all of the details here, but from what I've like loosely read, I think her interpolating the track rather than using the master's sample, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
like pulling the master recording and putting in the song, interpolating it instead allows her to credit George Michael as a songwriter. And what that
Yes.
means is that George Michael and like his family are going to receive royalties from the song and not the
Mm-hmm.
people who own his master's recording
Right.
because he did not own his master's either. So I think
Yes.
that that is speaking to the commentary of like, hey, like I want the person who came up with this to get to reap the benefits of this, not the people who like bought it out from I don't know his lore on his
Yeah,
masters, but
same.
like, if it were like bought out from under him in the way that hers was or something
Right.
similar, she just wants to make sure that the artist is the one reaping the benefits. And I think that that personally is what I think it's speaking to.
Yeah, which
So,
I also so similar to Elizabeth Taylor, where like there were some things we can go back and forth. Like some of the because when I first listened to it, I was like, okay, this is about somebody. Because I even wrote in my notes, which you can't see you guys can't listening can't see the outline, but I say I also see the world in which this is pointed at Scott and how he was a father figure and did her dirty, which also makes so much sense. Also, like fuck him for that whole situation. I think there's certain lyrics where like it switches a little bit, where like it seems like she's talking to somebody older and then younger, which is the only reason where I see it flipping a little bit. And again, like I don't even see this as like a diss track to either of them. Genuinely, like I don't think this is her being like, you're an asshole, I hate you, whatever. Like she's just being like, oh, like fuck around and find out.
yes, and I think the Scott Borchetta thing is 1,000% my interpretation. I think all of
Yeah.
the references to protecting the family quote, I think the family is her music from her perspective, and I know she's
Oh,
not gonna,
that's yeah.
I yeah, like it's the records that were stolen from
Yeah,
her,
yeah,
and
yeah.
she's not gonna name drop Scott Borchetta on
No.
any of it, but I will. So allow me.
Please do.
But I think like the first two verses of this song are kind of like reflecting on all the promises that he made her earlier in her career. Like, I'll protect you, I'll show you all the tricks of the
Totally.
trade. But really, like, she was the only one that was actually concerned with protecting herself and her art.
Yeah.
And also, just like, turns out my dick's bigger.
Crazy.
Insane. And using
Crazy
that as a
lyric.
metaphor for the power dynamic there
Right.
is so fucking smart. And because
Absolutely.
like you hear her say my dick's bigger and you're initially like you're locked in because you're
Yeah.
like, what the hell
And
did
like
she just say?
and that's where like a line like that, like I don't think she would write something about that, like about Olivia Rodrigo. So
No,
like in
yeah, I
those
think
senses, like I don't. That's what like I don't think there's like that deep of beef. But I don't. Again, I don't know. I'm just kind of spinning whatever way we see it. But that line is fucking nuts.
it's my jaw. I wish I was like filming myself when I listened to it for the first time. My jaw, I mean,
Yeah.
unhinged. I love.
Right. I think lyrically, like this song is pretty self-explanatory. Like there's not too the hidden meanings we kind of you can go line by line, but like you could spin it either way. But some of the ones that really stand out, like we said, I protect the family, and I I called out, she referenced Olivia and Conan as her children during the Fearless rollout. So obviously her family there. But then Delaney has a great point saying like, oh, but also her albums are her children. Like she's always referred to her bodies of work as that. And on her Fallon interview, actually, she was saying how she really had a hard time like loving those albums and those music videos because they were stripped away from her. And once she got them all back, she had to like learn how to love them again. And like now she's so protective of them. So like I do kind of see that a little bit more. That does make a lot more sense when you put it in that perspective. Um, she said, I saw a change in you, my dear. They don't make loyalty like they used to. Again, just showing that like she was burned and like this is somebody who promised to be loyal to her, and whoever, this is like clearly completely just fucked her over and never had her best interest at all. Um, let me scroll through. Oh, so something I thought that was interesting is she said your thoughtless ambition sparked the ignition on foolish decisions, which led to misguided visions that fulfill your dreams that you had to get rid of me. So on one hand, I could see where Olivia was very new in her career, and again, everything I'm saying is allegedly. I don't want anyone to listen to this and be like, it's about Olivia. Like I don't know. None of us know anything. I think the Scott Borchetta thing is much more like I would go on paper saying that faster than the Olivia Rodrigo thing, but there is a lot of things that I can just like kind of pin with Olivia that like makes sense there. So what I saw from this is like maybe Olivia wanted to like separate herself from Taylor a little bit because she kind of has more of like a grungy pop sound, and similar to like Miley Cyrus, the Jonas Brothers, even Taylor, like you grow up in one scene and you are stuck in that scene forever. Like look at how wildly unhinged Miley had to go with Bangers to finally rid Hannah Montana. Like Olivia coming from Disney Plus with High School Musical, the musical, the series, say that 10 times fast, but like she got really popular because of Driver's License, which is tied to Joshua Bassett and Sabrina Carpenter. Sabrina Carpenter was also on Disney Channel. Joshua Bassett was her love interest on High School Musical, the musical, the series. Like she could have very easily fallen into that Disney rabbit hole. So to me, I also can see a world in which Olivia wanted to separate herself from Taylor. Not that she did anything wrong in that sense, but like I also see a world in which they had a very mature conversation and like they were like, hey, like maybe this is something that we don't be so public about or something. And Taylor felt burned by that or something. Or Olivia was so young when this happened that like it could be record people in her ear the same way record people were in Taylor's ear and telling her, oh, we're going to support you for your entire career, and then pulling her mask out from under her. Like there's so many different things that can happen. And the music industry is I mean, the Life of the Showgirl title track is all about like, hey, don't join the music industry because it fucking sucks. Like urging them like, hey, like, you got to have tough skin for this. So there are a lot of different ways, again, that this could kind of be shifted, but also at the same thing, it's like you could tie this to a Scott thing and like that they were distancing themselves from each other. Like maybe there's things that happened behind the scenes with Scott and Taylor before the music was sold, and like she didn't realize that he was distancing herself because if I remember correctly, like the music was sold without any warning. Like she was just like told that like, hey, we're selling your masters, right?
Yeah, so I think that this part in terms of like relating back to Scott, I think it's kind of like her wanting to leave Big Machine, but Scott essentially when they I don't know obviously the type of discussions that they had prior, but I think the deal was that Scott said, "Okay, well, you can earn your masters back and continue to release
Yes.
albums with Big Machine, and for every album you release with Big Machine, you'll get one of your albums back."
Right.
So essentially he wanted her to release six new albums with Big Machine, and she didn't want to be tied to them for six more albums.
Yeah.
So when she's saying, you had to get rid of me, it's kind of like Scott saying you think to fulfill your dreams you need to go find another label, but from Taylor's perspective, it's Scott, for you to fulfill your dreams of making more money,
Yeah.
you have to get rid of me and sell my music out from under me.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think the I think I have this written down later, but like I think the most oh, it's right here. The more genius and interesting part of this song is that I think the bridge in that way can be viewed from both of their perspectives. Like,
Totally.
and both of them thinking that they're in the right with what they're saying to the other person. And I think that it's my favorite part of the song. It's my
Yeah.
favorite storytelling element on the album. Because the two of them could, who's saying that part? You don't know because it
Yeah.
literally could be either of them. I think it's genius.
Right. Totally. And then that final chorus sonically vocally, lyrically, it is just the stab in the back and like the nail in the coffin that I think this song just needs so incredibly, because she's saying, you want to fight, you found it. I got the place surrounded. You'll be sleeping with the fish before you know you're drowning. And then
My
it has
favorite
this
part on
this
the album.
giant, like explosive, almost like choir like moment. And she says, whose portrait's on the mantle? Who's covered your scandals? Mistake my kindness for weakness, and now your card is canceled. Like,
And justice for that key change, we're not talking about it enough.
it's
It's
so good.
She said it in an interview that that's one of her favorite key changes she's ever done, and she's right. And
Yeah,
I think too, like the lyrical meaning, it's like I think that's her realizing like you think that you had the upper hand, you think you could like outdick me, but like
yeah,
your success always hinged on mine. And
right.
she knows that now. The
Totally,
only way that
totally.
he was going to be successful is if she was. So actually, she always had the upper hand.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what's crazy? I was just like doing this mental math. If she took that deal in another world, she took the deal where she had to release 6 new albums to get them all back. This would have been the album that got all of them back. Because it's
So
been,
and
right?
that's yeah, I
Because it's been 6 albums:
yeah,
Lover,
because it'd be
Folklore, Evermore. Because Lover was the first, so, like, that she
yeah,
owned.
the first one she
Lover,
owned. So
Folklore, Evermore, Midnight,
Midnight.
Tortured Poets. Yeah.
Yeah, which
This
is
would, like, just,
poetic in a way.
it is. Yeah. And, like, the fact that, like, it really didn't, like, Taylor, I mean, this is a total tangent, but like looking at Taylor Swift, I look at Taylor Swift in terms of like pre-Lover and after Lover. I just felt like a shift in her career with the re-records and everything, where like she seems like a different artist, in a, not in a bad way by all means, but like I do look at her music kind of pre-Lover and post-Lover. And if you think about her albums pre-Lover, when they were under this record label and whatever, she was on like almost like a strict 2 year release cycle. You know, like we were getting them
Hmm.
every 2 years. The fact that we've gotten 6 albums in 5 years, like it's actually kind of crazy.
She's crazy. I love her
And
though.
the re-records and
Yeah.
the like it's
We are fed. We are
it's like
so
actually
fed.
insane. It's really nuts when you think about it.
Ugh.
But yeah, so then at the end, the final thing that really like kind of gets me is, if you, and this is, you have to like read the lyrics, so just listening to it you won't see this, but it's in quotes. She says, you remind me of a younger me, and then the final line is, I saw potential. And so seeing that the that is in quotes, part of me is she saying it to a younger like is she saying it to a younger person, or is somebody saying it to her? Like, how, is she saying, you remind me of a younger me to somebody else, or is she hearing it from someone else and saying like, I saw the potential in what we could have been, i.e. in her and Scott having this, like, they could have had on top of the world, or like, I saw potential in somebody who screwed me over, like there's so many interesting ways. I just think the quotes around that are really, it obviously intentional, but like very important to point out.
Yes, I think that's, I saw potential not being in quotes is, I think, saying that she saw the potential in that relationship. But I also think her, like, kind of bringing this back at the end, you remind me of a younger me, I saw potential, is kind of throwing it back onto him. Like, because at the beginning of the song, he says, when he met her, when I met you, you were young, wayward, lost in the cold. So now that that relationship is no more, and he tried to kind of pull a fast one and has famously lost that battle. Like now he's wayward, he's lost.
Yeah.
And so I think kind of throwing that back a little bit in his face, like I saw the potential here, but now look at you. Now you're the one in this scenario. I think it's genius, and it is always going to be fuck Scott Borchetta from me.
Oh, till the day I die.
Uh-huh.
With my chest.
100%.
All right, moving on to track 5, the coveted track 5 of every, Taylor's albums are centered around this track, kind of from her own doing. It's kind of just been a thing that has always been a thing with Taylor. And this is the first song on the album. I like I said, sonically with Father Figure, I was like, whatever, but I do like the song. Like I've come around to it, I enjoy it. To this day, Eldest Daughter is still a song. I just don't like it, and I'm not fully sure why. Like it's. I, I never want to say a song is bad, because art is subjective. My least favorite song could be your favorite song. And that is, there is music that I love that I know Delani doesn't love, and vice versa. And that everybody listening to this, there were parts that you guys are going to love and, whatever. So I'm never going to say a song is bad. It's not for me. And I don't think it's sonically necessarily, like, something about it. I don't know what it is. I understand like the sentiment of it, but it just doesn't hit the way that I wanted it to. And Delaney makes a very good point in that neither of us are eldest daughters.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like I'm an only child, so like,
Yeah,
can't really
I'm the
relate.
eldest
Like,
son, but like it's
right.
different.
It's yeah, and it's definitely not my favorite track five, but I think it has some highlights. It's definitely grown on me, and I think that and I say this a little bit later too, but I think it almost has this feel like it's in a rom-com and almost like a cheesy rom-com, and it kind of
Okay,
like pulls from that sonically, in my opinion. And so I think it's a little bit more like coming of age movie that you like,
sure.
watch in the background to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
When we get into lyrically, I think it's a little bit deeper than that, or much deeper than
sure.
that, really. But yeah, it's sonically not my favorite, but it definitely has its highlights.
For sure. And I think like the title of the song to me, when I hear the words eldest daughter and think of like what you expect with that, I think, you're gonna learn you're the eldest daughter. There's like so many things that tie into your family. And I almost feel like I wish the song was named something else again because of that expectation that it had. Like I know a lot of people were like, oh my God, eldest daughter is going to kill me, thinking it's about like family expectations. And it is a little bit, of course, like, every eldest daughter is the first lamb to the slaughter, things like that. But at its core, the song is kind of about her being this specific girlfriend, fiance to Travis in a way, and the way that she ties being an eldest daughter to being a partner, which to me, like, that's not the first thing that I think of when I think eldest daughter. However, if we circle back to the way that I was looking at this from a marketing standpoint, like, it's very clear that me and Taylor Swift do not have the same brain, and that is fine. It's okay. Like we're not going to think the same way. Everyone's going to interpret things. Me and Delani are interpreting songs differently every other track. It's like it's okay, and like I feel like I have to like say it because like I feel like Swifties are gonna be like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, no, no, no. Like you can dislike a song, like it's fine. Like I
Right.
said, art is subjective. But yeah, to me, I just kind of feel like disconnect with it in that sense. So I don't know. That's just kind of my take there.
I think like the way for me when I think about it that it relates back to being an eldest daughter, I think it's like her saying like I constantly feel like I have this pressure on me, whether that's familial or societal, kind of like we talked about earlier. And I think it's kind of highlighting how I have this weight on me, but you've helped me as like the youngest child. You helped me with this like childlike whimsy that I've been missing, and you helped me to not take things so seriously. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
allowing her to relax from that a little bit, which I think is really sweet.
See, I didn't even consider like Travis's role in being the younger there. Like that makes sense that like again, this like these two oil and water that shouldn't mix, they do mix so well. It's like they
Hmm.
they are so different. I didn't even consider, which I should have because his sibling is like half of his entire brand. Respectfully, that does also make some sense there. Where even like I haven't laughed this hard since I fell off the trampoline, whatever it is. Like, yeah, that child whimsy kind of feeling, that makes a lot of sense. That actually does kind of like click a little bit more for me. I don't think I'm still gonna like. I don't think it's gonna skyrocket to my favorites, but that again, that makes me get it, and that's what I was saying. Like, I feel like you will have some insight that makes me understand it better, because that's the beauty of music. You can interpret it so many different ways.
I love it.
We both agree the bridge is just stunning. It is beautifully written. I love the choir like sound behind it. It has like an
Hmm.
old school Taylor vibe to it. Like it feels like Taylor in her room with her guitar and like simple, stripped back. The lyrics, the vocals, the production of it is so stunning. And I think the bridge alone is where I'm like, it's not, again, the song is not bad. It's just not something I'm going to listen to often, but this is a highlight on the entire album. I will
Hmm.
go ahead and
Yeah.
say I don't love this song. It's not in my top half ranking. I will just say this bridge is a highlight on the album without a doubt.
Yes, and I think the bridge is really that part for me that feels like that part in a rom-com. It's like they're slow dancing when they finally realize they should end up together in the rom-com. Like
Yes,
that is the
totally.
soundtrack to that scene.
Yes,
And then the part right after the bridge, the that every youngest child felt they were raised up in the wild, but now you're home. Again, like calling back to that childlike whimsy and like carefree attitude that Travis brings. But I think it's like, just she brings him enough stability. Like he can bring that for her, but her being the eldest daughter and taking things so seriously also allows him to have that stability so he can
sure.
like finally plant his feet somewhere solid, which
Right. And also
they
just like
balance
saying
each other so well.
like now you're home. Like that's such a sweet
Hmm.
message to like be like that is home now, like you are home
Yes.
in terms of like coming home at the end of the night as a kid, but like calling him home in that sense, it's just
Hmm.
such a it's so sweet. She's so in
It's so
love. It's
sweet.
kind of
I love
gross, but
it.
I love
I
it.
love this for her.
Are we good to move on?
Absolutely.
All right, next up, track 6, Ruin the Friendship. I fucking love this song, despite it being incredibly heartbreaking and earth
The
shattering.
A plot twist of a song. I don't think any of us were expecting.
No,
I
not
think we
at
were all
all.
probably a little confused listening to the first part because I know I was. I was like, "What? I don't understand where she's going with this." And then the
Yes.
the part hits and you're like, "What the
Yeah.
hell just happened?"
So, full transparency, the first time I listened to this, I was like, okay, girl, we are 35 years old. Why are we singing about high school? And like, I think that's a fair thing to say. Like, why are we singing about being in second period and all these things? And I was just like, I was genuinely so confused. And like, I also think in the mind state that I was in listening to this album, being like, this is not what I expected. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? And like, just like, I almost like listened to everything so surface level. Um, but then the more I listened to it and like that, once I heard that plot twist, I was like, oh fuck, now I get it. Like now I understand. Like it,
Yes.
it took that. And then the more I'm like, no, I understand. I can digest this. And I really have a really big appreciation for like the storytelling that she has, similar to like that
Hmm.
bridge of Eldest Daughter. It's old school storytelling Taylor, where it's simple, but it's so beautifully narrative, and she really can paint the picture of what is going on, you know?
Hmm.
Which she always does in her music. But something about this album, I think she's really, it's almost like she's having this like homecoming to like her early days of like debut fearless era. Before she was obviously heartbroken here and there, but like she wasn't the lightning rod for slut shaming yet. She wasn't. She was this innocent little girl, whatever. And then she started getting attacked. And she had this innocent, I mean, literally innocent is a track on Fearless. Like
Yeah.
she was literally, no, Fearless?
Speak now.
Speak now, speak
Speak
now.
now.
Yeah, I was like, wait, no, that's not right. Yeah, but like, and even speak now, it was sweet and innocent, and like she had this like innocence to her, and I almost feel like some of the simple lyrics on this album bring me back to that, and that's why I appreciate the lyrics, because yeah, they're not as in depth as Tortured Poets or as Folklore Evermore, which famously like aren't in my top Taylor rankings because again, I'm a production person. I want Midnight where it's fun and explosive and poppy, and I want 1989 and whatever. Like, but these lyrics on this production, I'm like, it's giving that feel for me again, and I'm just loving it. She says, glistening glass from September rain. I immediately think there's something about the way the street looks when it just rained. Like it's just like she loves the idea of like being in a car when it just rained and like falling in love in high school. So like thinking of Fearless, where she's like, she's spinning around and so happy. Like this is that same idea where she's like falling in love, and you can just imagine what they're doing. She later talks about like being like watching a game from her brother's Jeep and things like that. So it's very easy to picture what she's going through. Um, there's a really fun staggering that she does with the notes where she says, your smile, eyes wide. I love that. Like it's just like a staggered, simple thing that she did with her voice, but I think it just adds a little bit of this like whimsical fairy tale, high school falling in love kind of feel, if that makes sense.
Yes, and all these lyrics paint such a picture. And
Yes.
you're so right. I never really kind of like thought about it before and why this song feels so nostalgic is it does really take back to like the debut and the fearless of it all before she was now has to sing about all these other things that she's being like targeted
Right.
for. Like it
She just
goes
had
back
like
to that
she
like
had a bunch of crushes, and she would write about them, and like this
yeah,
is I mean this is
this
quite
is that.
literally that, because it's writing about that period in her life, but it's like she still has that kind of in her, she doesn't have to like do all these like flips and tricks lyrically to like get the point across.
Hmm.
um she says, where I'm sorry, I lost my spot. Oh, she says, don't make it awkward in second period. Might piss your ex off. Lately, we've been good. Staying friends is safe, but doesn't mean you should. This like forbidden friend that you have that like you're always like, should we date? Like maybe this is like the your parents' best friend's son, and like you're always together at, the party or like the birthday parties or like at the football games or whatever it may be. It's like, oh, why aren't they dating? Should they be dating? And it's like right person, wrong time kind of situation.
Hmm.
And again, I'm listening and I'm like, why am I listening to a 35-year-old singing about being in second period? Like, girl, you haven't been in second period. You didn't like, when was the last time you were in a school? Like, respectfully, you know what I mean? Like, you were out doing your thing. And then it happens and it rips my heart out. And I'm like, oh, because you are mourning the loss of something that could have been. And she's saying like, how did we go from this like whimsical storytelling to this man dying? Like she literally is like, I'm whispering at the grave that I should have kissed you anyway. And on one hand, I think this is just something that a lot of people can relate to. Maybe not the full stop dying part, of course, like it could be metaphorically, not everyone has had somebody pass like that, but like even the idea of like there is somebody who got away or something like that, it's not like a crazy concept in that sense. But I also think the fact that this song, she found a place in this is a story that she's known forever, she puts it on this album. I think it really speaks to the strength in her and Travis's relationship. That like this was probably somebody that she keeps in the back of her mind that like she thinks about, but like was afraid to tell somebody about in the past. Like, like somebody you're like, oh, like there was this guy who I almost dated in high school and whatever. Like, you don't want to talk about that with your current boyfriend, husband, fiance. And like now she's like, Travis is so secure in their relationship, as is she, that she's like, I can finally tell this story. And like, I almost feel as this is probably such like a weight lifted off her shoulders to like be able to write about this again. And like, there's so many things that have happened in her life. And when you think about like even the Midnight's album, those are like 12 or however many tracks that happened at midnight throughout her career. So like in that sense, sure, she was writing about her past there, but like this is so specifically a certain situation. And I think it really could only fit on this album where she is so sure and secure in this relationship that like Travis doesn't give a fuck about somebody else she dated in the past. He's like, you're with me now. Similar to what you said earlier, like Travis didn't care about her past. Travis cares about who Taylor is now. So I think this is, though it's a beautiful song and I love it just for sonically, lyrically, I think it's a really big green flag showing that like she is so content and confident in where she is relationship wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think too, like, I think this song in a lot of ways also is like less about the actual person from high school of it all, but like also just her reminiscing on like the song isn't just about being sad about the way that something worked out, but it's about like learning the lesson from it and making
Sure.
sure that you honor that person's memory and don't regret not doing something again. So like this song, I think being born from like the most probably like chaotic time in her life, like the Eras tour and like surrounding
Yeah.
time, like what it might be like I think it's probably like this thought in the back of her head of like I remember when I missed out on this thing, so because I was too scared to take a chance. So when she's deciding, like, okay, I'm gonna do this 3.5 hour show for 2 years,
Yeah.
or I'm
Totally.
gonna record two brand new albums while I'm on the tour, or I'm gonna meet the love of my life at literally the most insane time when I'm busy and I'm at the top of my game. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to look back on this moment and think, well, what if I would have just done it anyway?
Yeah.
And so she's kind of like using like it's kind of like Elizabeth Taylor in the sense how that Elizabeth Taylor is a plot device for the story of that. It's like this story of this memory of this person is the plot device to remember like, hey, just take the chance because you don't know what could
Right.
actually happen.
Totally. And even if you like, I think back a lot to like the 1989 press tour where she was talking about the album. She's like, I decided to do a full pop album for the first time after being country's darling for, she knows she dabbled in pop on Red, whatever, but like
Mhm.
1989 was the first album she really went full fledged for it. And even that, like, if she didn't take that risk, who knows where she would have went in terms of like sound or career or things like that. Like there really are so many points in her career where you can think like she kind of had to make these choices. And like, yeah, she probably does think about the time where she's like, well, fuck, when I didn't take the risk this one time, look at what happened.
Mhm.
And yeah, so that is, I like that. I love that tie and like that loop in even like the Elizabeth Taylor double entendre ideas of it all. Like it has, not double entendre, but you know what I mean? Double meaning
Mhm.
where it like can kind
Yes,
of be applied across multiple different parts of her life.
for sure.
Love it.
For
I
sure,
love
for
that
sure.
track. All right. Track 7. I have been so excited to chat with you about this. And not so I said this even on the podcast a few weeks ago where I was like, well, I've been anticipating this episode with you. And I was like, I am so excited to talk about Actually Romantic with Delani because I know we are going to have such like a really interesting conversation because where I am I've been a fan of Charlie for years now, like probably like it's been like 10 something years that I've been a fan of Charlie now. And like you aren't as a fan or very like it's not music that you listen to or whatever. It's like I'm excited to have this conversation just about like this and this situation. So of course, Actually Romantic track 7 is allegedly about Charlie XCX. Again, I'm not a rumor mill. I'm not sitting here pointing fingers, but I mean, it's pretty obvious who this song is about. So I'm very torn because as a child of divorce, like as somebody who loves Taylor and loves Charlie, like when Reputation Tour got announced, I was like, there's no fucking way I am seeing Charlie XCX open for Taylor Swift. I was so excited. I can totally understand Taylor's idea of like wanting to get her word out and wanting to make peace with whatever happened behind the stage because I also behind the scenes, excuse me, because like the whole thing of this album, she says like I don't want to live in purgatory anymore. Like I want to be able to poke the bear. She's talking about Scott or Olivia or Kayla or Charlie. Like she's able to talk about these people. Like I said, she's poking the bear outside of her exits for the first time really ever in this degree on an album. And I totally understand her wanting to kind of like give her 2 cents in the situation. I almost wish she was meaner. Like, not that I want Charlie to like get bullied more, but like if you're gonna go for it, I'm like, go for it. And like, I know some people are like, oh, like it is crazy to like say she did coke or say she's a chihuahua. Like, yeah, those are not nice things to say. But I'm like, let's go a little deeper if you're gonna go for it. You know, if this is like a thing in that sense, and like, and like calling Charlie XCX like doing saying she does coke. I'm like, yeah, her entire hook on the lead single of her album is literally bumping that. Like, we know. And like, I just am like, I get that she also is like, that's not her. Like, she's not like a scathing, mean person. You know, she's does I don't know if she has that really in her in that sense, but I'm just like, I almost like not that it's a waste of a song because I do enjoy this song. I think it's good. I just am like, I wish you would have like really gone for it, you know, and like told us a little bit about what was said. And like she obviously says like about like the boyfriend breaking him up, whatever, and things like that. But I'm like, I just wish there was more to it, you know?
Yeah, I'm gonna like skip around in my notes just a
Yeah,
little
please
bit here,
do.
but like, um, so I think honestly, like I kind of don't. First off, I don't really go here with the
Right.
Charlie thing. I appreciate it for what it is. It's just not personally my style, but that's
Yeah.
fine. But like I kind of don't think anything outside of the first couple of lines are actually references to Charlie. I think that this song I think there's a Kim K reference in the song. I think that Keep Sending Me Funny
The
Valentines
Valentine. Yeah.
lyric, and I think I forgot this even happened until I saw it on the internet, but like when Kim Kardashian posted like the post-it notes with all the
Yes.
celebrity
Yeah.
names on it that she has beef with, and she was like, I'm gonna send them all a Valentine's Day card. I think that's
Right.
like a very clear, like direct reference actually. And so,
Yeah.
and I think the rest of the song is kind of like a general statement to people who claim to hate her, but they just like never shut the fuck up because like nobody talks more about Taylor Swift than somebody in the TikTok creator fund that doesn't like
That's
her. You know what I
you
mean?
know,
So it's,
literally. Yeah.
I think, and I think too, like going back to the Coke thing, I don't even think that the Coke thing is the diss. Like, I don't think like you said, like the hook on the opening song is bumping that. So
Like
like we
we
know,
know.
and
Yeah.
she made the Coke vinyl, like we know,
Yeah.
and
It's
I
what
don't think.
it's her thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think that Taylor thinks that that's groundbreaking because so I don't think that the Coke line is the diss. I think the diss is more like Charlie definitely has this persona of like the someone who's gonna say it. She's just gonna come out and say it. But Taylor's like, but you actually don't do that with me because the only
Right.
time you ever talk about me is when you're on cocaine and it's behind my back. You won't say it
Sure.
with your chest to me sober.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that that is more of what she's saying there. I don't think I don't think the Coke of it all is the point.
Is no, that's very fair too. And like I obviously again, like as a child of divorce, as I said, like I immediately am like, I love Taylor, I love Charlie. I'm like, I just see it. I'm like, oh my God, what am I supposed to like? What the I'm not taking a side. Like it's
Right. Like
I
it
don't
at the end of the
care
day, none of
enough.
this matters. Like
Yeah, no, literally. But I think a lot. So I want to go into what you were saying about Kim in a second because I saw that and like I completely forgot until you just brought that up, and it's like makes so much more sense in that sense. But something I think about a lot is what happened with Charlie and Taylor during that time because obviously they did the tour together. Charlie made the comment about performing to 5-year-olds, which was not nice, and she didn't have to say it, but that's kind of Charlie's attitude. Like
right.
it, that I felt weird being at a Reputation tour listening to Charlie and like having a 5-year-old girl next to me when I know she has songs about doing drugs in the bathroom. Like she didn't sing them on the tour, but I was like, this is a little strange fit. Like it didn't, whatever. So like again, Charlie could have said it much nicer. I think she was trying to be edgy, whatever. I'm not saying that was correct.
And I
But
think she actually like walked back on that a little bit after because
yeah,
didn't she? Yeah, I
she
think
was
it
like,
was like taken out of proportion a little
as
bit, but yeah.
everything is. Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
right.
I'm like, I don't think Charlie and Taylor actually had this like crazy beef or whatever. I think it was like made up Swifty online angel. The Charlie fans are called angels, like that beef kind of thing. But I think so often about, okay, Charlie and George from the 1975 start
Hmm.
dating around early 2022, I want to say. So not long, like they're still in their honeymoon phase, whatever. And then Taylor and Maddie, we don't really know when Taylor and Maddie kind of were rekindling because we don't really know exactly when her and Joe broke up officially. Like it was kind
Right.
of this like, huh, kind of thing.
Hmm.
So like Charlie's in this honeymoon phase and like finding this romance and this love or whatever. And Taylor kind of comes back around, and not that her and Taylor had beef. I really don't think there was anything there, but I think on Taylor's side, Taylor is going through this breakup. She's about to go in this massive tour. She's doing all these crazy things. And she goes back to this guy who's been like this crazy muse for her for years that she has always found herself going back to. She's going out on stage with them. I mean, we all remember the Terminal 5 show that she was at. Like, I watched it with my own eyes. Like, she's always been surrounded by this person. And she's going through this breakup. She's going through all this stuff. She's now around Charlie and George a lot, probably whatever, cool, lovely. Charlie is now in this new relationship where she probably feels like it's her territory, her thing. And she's like, also, I don't know if you've listened to Brat like fully or,
Here and there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of the songs on Brat is including Sympathy is a Knife, which is like the Taylor diss track, which really isn't as much of a diss track as much of it is her being like, wow, this girl is incredible. Like, this girl has everything I want in my career, but like, I will never be that. Like, and like, she admits, like, I talk shit about you behind your back in that song. She's like, I literally cross my fingers and hope that you guys are going to break up because I don't want you in my space because I think Charlie is feeling this in that moment. She's like, oh my God, everything is Charlie was in this situation with her record label where she could, after her album crashed, she was able to now release whatever she wanted. It was a new deal that they got. She was like in this whole new era of what she was going to do, which is what made Brat. So I feel like Charlie probably felt like she finally got out of this record deal that she didn't want to be in. She could finally release the music that she wanted. She could do all this stuff. And then in comes the biggest pop star ever in her inner circle. And she's like, fuck, is this going to ruin what, like, am I going to like, like, how is this going to affect me or whatever, which is very selfish of her, of course. But I do think like there was so much on both ends that it's like, we will never know what actually happened. You know what I mean? Like, and again, like, none of this matters. I'm not taking a side or whatever, but I'm so curious, like, what actually was said or done because it's like they were both going through such transitional periods in their lives. And like, they're women in their 30s, like, anybody in their 30s are going through the craziest transition of your life, especially when you are in the spotlight. Like, I can't even imagine that. You know what I mean? So I'm like, what really happened? That was that crazy. Like, was she just talking shit behind your back, which is not okay? And like, but what were you saying? Like, was she just hoping that her and Maddie broke up? Like, what, you know what I mean? Because like, in the past, they were friends. Like, they were able to coexist together for quite some time. So it's just so interesting to me to see like what possibly could have happened,
Yeah,
But it's like things we'll never know.
I think like trying to put myself in Taylor's shoes, like I feel like it probably kind of came out of left field for her, and that's where this was
Totally.
born
Yeah.
from. It's like I thought we were fine. I didn't know that you felt, and hearing this song that whether she, Sympathy's a Knife is a
Yeah.
diss or if it's just an insecurity thing. I
Yeah.
think either way, I think I would struggle to be like, well, that's not my fault.
Well,
Like
that's what I'm also, yeah, like I think
yes.
Taylor, I don't say this in a way that Taylor isn't self-aware, but in the same way that Taylor like just recently is like admittingly being like, yeah, I'm a billionaire, I'm rich. Like, she likes to kind of play this idea of like being relatable all the time. And like, realistically, she's not. Like, we can relate to her only to a certain extent before it's like, oh, but she also can never worry about anything again in her life financially. Like, you know what I mean? And like, that is great. That is not a flaw. So I think like in Taylor's defense, it's also like she doesn't know that she's doing this to Charlie's inner saboteur, whatever. But then Charlie's defense is like, humans are going to feel human feelings regardless. It's like you can't
Right.
control that, but you can control how you react to it. So it's
Yeah.
like, again, it's that double-edged sword kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think like I don't know. I think the Charlie discourse is like a huge part of this for a reason. I mean, there is certain parts
Oh,
that are definitely
totally.
definitely pointed, but I think the thing that I really do like about this song is I think it's getting people talking, and I think Taylor's so good about using like the one small snippet of like a personal experience and using
Yeah,
that to like as a plot device for a larger narrative. And I think sometimes people get so caught up in like the who and like whatever that you kind of
of
miss the
course.
point and this larger point. Not to say this isn't a good point, but like, the
No,
larger
of
thing
course.
is like people, everyone out there, like parasocially loving someone might be cringy, but parasocially hating someone is so embarrassing. And
Like the
like
people who
people,
are on like the snark Reddits, I'm like, you guys need
yes,
to get
I'm
a
like,
fucking
can
life.
we relax? So I think it's
Yeah.
like her saying to whether it's to one specific person or just society in general, like
Yeah.
you say that you hate me so much or you have so much to say about me. And you know what? That's actually cute.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I actually love that spin on it. And it makes me be
yeah,
like, wow, okay, that makes a lot more sense because it's like, it's not just about two of my girls fighting. But like, and like, I did see that Valentine's Day thing, but I think I saw it in like the height of me being like, do I like this album or do I not? Trying to figure it
right.
out. So I kind of was just trying to like stay one track minded. But I do the Valentine's Day thing, even when I listened to it while I was reading, like going through this for this episode, I was like, that. There's no way this is about Charlie. Like that's got to be a different
Right.
situation. Like there are definitely multiple things. I think it's just that opening line is
Yep.
so I say harsh, but I don't mean harsh. I can't think of the actual word that I mean. It's so strong, I guess,
It's
in
like
terms of like
striking. It's like,
it's like
whoa.
whoa. So you kind of get hung up on it for the rest of it,
Yep.
you know?
Yes,
Um,
100%.
but I mean, the fucking bridge.
It's so fun.
The most like cringy, tacky, sticky part of the album, and that is in the highest of complimentary way. Like
Hmm.
it is so people are loving this part, and I'm like, this is cringier than her singing about Travis's penis. Like to me, she's like this is cringier to me, like, and not in a bad way. Cringe isn't bad. I embrace cringe. I love cringy, bad lyrics, movies, whatever. I love it. Love it. I don't say cringe in a bad way. I say, and cringe is just an essence of something. And I'm like, everyone is obsessed with this. It's trending on TikTok. They're loving it. You're proving her point. You are proving
Hmm.
her point that like the
Hmm.
part of the album that probably is one of the most like even like sonically, like it's supposed to be a little annoying, I think. Like she has this
Yes.
like almost like nasally part where she's like like you
It's like
think I'm
whiny.
tacky, baby, and then she
Yeah.
sings it like she's doing it to like mimic you, you know? I can see her
Yes.
doing it. I can
It's
see
like
her
all these
like
people just like yapping.
yes,
That's what it's pulling
exactly.
from. I love
Yes,
it.
totally. And I'm like, but everyone's obsessed with this. So do you hate this album or do you just hate when Taylor Swift is happy? Like you gotta,
Like, you gotta pick one.
but it's so good. I think that's all I have for that song. I think
Yeah.
we're good to move on to Wish List.
Yes.
All right, track number 8, Wish List. First and foremost, I don't know if I needed the dollar signs in the title. I,
I've been mulling with that
I
because I did
understand
not
it.
understand. I think it's ironic,
It
right?
is, but it's like
Yeah.
it almost is that like millennial cringe that like, yeah, of course Taylor Swift is doing this, but I don't think it adds anything to the song. You know what I
I
mean?
think I
It
almost
doesn't
wonder
it
if it
doesn't
was
take
like,
away from the song or make me dislike it. Doesn't it's a title. It's not going to make me be like it's a bad song because you put a like no, but I'm like I really would love to be in the meeting when they were like we have to do it because of this. You know what I mean?
yeah, I almost wonder if it's like if it was intentionally to throw people off. Like,
Yeah, right.
like you're gonna think that this is a materialistic song and it's
Right.
not.
Yeah.
So
But all of that being said, just like I was like, I wonder where that came from. This
I would
song
love to
is
know, yeah.
just so much fun. It is so fun. It's so just like bouncy and vibey and chill. I feel like this song could have fit on Midnights with a few
Hmm.
tweaks. Like if she would have done a little less of the like that like piano and like gone a little more like
Yes.
synthy, it could have been like a Midnight track the way that like the lyrics or whatever, it's very surface level. And I think that is fine. And I keep saying a lot of the criticism on this album is that the lyrics are like, eh. But she really does go back and forth with this idea of like being this in-depth tortured poet department writer and then her glitter pen songs. I'm like,
Hmm.
I love a glitter pen lyric. Give me something simple and cheesy and talk about karma is a cat purring in my lap. Like I like when it is simple and on like like I just don't get where people have this big idea of like this album has so many lyrics that are so and I'm like
Can we
it's
relax? We don't always
yeah
have to be pretentious about things.
exactly and like I don't want her to be. It kind of makes my brain hurt when I have to listen to these lyrics and like pull up an like a dictionary and encyclopedia and all these things to like figure out what she's talking about. In terms of like the contents of this song, I don't think there's that much to really go into because again, it is surface level. We know what she's talking about. I just think it really is signifying and like solidifying the fact that like she has never been more in the place in her life that she wants than now. Like this is the part of her, this is where she's dreamt of being her entire life, and she is there. She is simple. She just wants you, and she is so content, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the point of the
Yeah.
song entirely because I think, she spent so long singing about all of these like complicated relationships and, they're in Lover, that album is riddled with anxiety and like anxious attachment. And now she's so secure. And I think that a song like this being so simple and just straightforward is just a testament to how easy it feels for her now. Like everything feels simple. It doesn't have to be this complicated, like dictionary thesaurus
Right.
level.
She could just be and
Yes.
exist. Yeah. And I
Yes.
think her and Travis have done so much in their careers separately that like there isn't much that they need to ask for in a life together. Like she's won the Grammys, she's done the record breaking still to this day. Like Travis had won the Super Bowls, he's done his thing. His podcast is crazy. It's blowing. It's like even before Taylor, like it was a huge sports podcast.
Hmm.
Like she's just catapulted it a little bit more for them, which love that for them. But like he had a very strong fan base, a very strong following before all of this. Like they've done so much separately that like they can just have this simple life now if they want it, if they choose to still do all of this stuff, which seems like I don't know when Travis plans to retire, but like everyone thought it was coming sooner than later. And like has he said anything about
No.
that? Yeah, I'm not like
Mm-mm.
up on the football as much. I know you watch more than I do. But like they really can just kind of like move through life together however they want, and it could be as simple or as extravagant as they want. It's going to be extravagant because they have the means to, and they should. But like it doesn't need to be. They don't need to wish. Their wish list is quite literally each other, and I think that is
Yes.
really nice and simple for them to just have.
Yes. And I love how throughout the song she's acknowledging like all of these different goals that
Yeah.
people have and all these different things that they want out of life, and hers is just so simple.
Yeah, and I think
And
there was probably a time in her life where, I mean, we literally watched her in Miss Americana, I believe it was, when she found out, like, when she didn't get the Grammy
mhm.
nomination,
Yeah,
whatever
for Rev,
that
yeah.
scene. Yeah, like she was like, no, I have to start writing again. Like, I'm going back into the studio and like making the next
Yes.
album. Like, there was a time in her life where that was what she cared about, rightfully so, as her career. Like, I also hate that
Hmm.
narrative where they're like, she's award hungry. I'm like, aren't you
Aren't they
also?
all?
But like,
Okay,
are
so don't take the Grammy when you get one then. I don't know.
but no,
Like,
not no, but like when you go to work, aren't you working to get a raise, to get a
mhm.
promotion? Like that is the when you pull it out, that's what they're doing.
That's
Like
yeah.
I hate that conversation where it's like they just
Hmm.
want like yeah, that's their
We all have
job.
to make money. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Like I hate the variance as much as the next person, but like I can't blame her for wanting to break the record. Like it makes sense. She wants to do these things because it's her job.
God forbid a girl have goals.
Right. Yeah, but I do think Wishlist really does kind of just like give this really pretty bow on top of like just a reminder like I'm content where I'm at. I don't care what's happening anymore. I don't care what happens. Like I am good where I'm at, and that's life.
Yeah, and I
And that's
I
showbiz
do.
for you.
And that is showbiz. I think people should take notes and apply this to their real life too. Like, just let people
Yeah.
have the things that they want.
Find the simple and like find the
It's
joy in
fine.
simple things. Like be simple enough to just like be happy with what you have. It's like, yeah, have goals, have ambitions, but like I feel like people, especially in like today's day and age where like we're seeing everybody do more and more and more and more and more, it feels like you can never keep up. But like there is
Hmm.
a world in which like you don't need to play catch up with everybody else. You're allowed to be content with your life where it's at. Like if you're, you know what I mean? Like if you're doing well and like okay, like you don't need to constantly be chasing a new high. Like if you find not the new heights mentioned, if you find that if you find it, like you can just live in that. I mean, Taylor Swift is on a different level in that sense, but like it's that sentiment.
Yes, absolutely.
And then switching into Wood, the song that was really making the conversations even before it came out, and then just continued to start to keep the conversations going, which I think is just so ridiculous because this song is a fucking banger. I love this song. This is what I wanted the entire album to sound like. Again, I know I keep bringing it up. I am over it. I am content with what we have in this album. But this, if you want to know like what I expected as far as like big pop, upbeat, whatever, like this is an example of what I wanted the whole album to sound like. Again, I know that it's unrealistic, but just to give you perspective, I fucking love this song. It's cringy. It's whatever. I love it. And the big conversation aside from Travis's manhood of it all is this like Jackson 5 essence, which I immediately was like, this is Jackson 5. Like I hear it immediately, but there isn't a sample or anything credited there. So there must be, again, there is some technicality musically, which is what happened with Olivia Rodrigo with Cruel Summer, where they were able to match it up enough to have to give the credit where this doesn't, I guess. But like, did you hear it? How did you like? And again, I don't listen to music and be like, Taylor Swift didn't give a credit for this song. Man, she's a bad. Like, I don't give a fuck. Genuinely, like, that's fine. But like, I think like with Beyonce a lot, like she gets a lot of shit for sampling and crediting or sampling artists or whatever. And like, there's been artists like I don't know if you know this lore, but on Renaissance she sampled Khalees and like the la 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 la, and
Hmm.
Khalees was like, well, you didn't tell me you were doing that. Mind you, after the fact, Beyonce did send everybody money and credit for it, but it had to be a secret because that's how Beyonce moves. But so Beyonce was like, okay, and took her off the album and re-released it. So like there's this whole conversation online about like sampling and crediting and things like that. And it's just like, can everyone just relax?
I definitely noticed the Jackson 5 similarity like from the jump. I'm not good at that. Like I'll hear a song and I'm like, "Oh, what does this sound like?" Like I don't know, but that one was immediate.
Yeah. I mean, it's night
It's
and day.
very evident. And
Yeah.
there is a creator on TikTok who breaks it down note by note, and she's like doing all of the songs on this album and the similarities that people are making, and she's like literally playing the chords, playing the notes back to back, and being like, "I hear you how it's similar because it's similar here, but then it deviates enough to where
Well, that's what I'm
it
saying.
doesn't
It's like they're,
require."
yeah. And
Yeah.
that, like, that's where I'm saying, like, with the Cruel Summer thing, like, it was matched up enough. Like, there is such a difference in the way that you're able to, like, find inspiration for a song, things like that, or whatever. So,
And there's
again,
only so much you can do with a finite amount of notes on a
yeah.
scale. Like,
And
you can't.
yeah, of course, they're going to
Yeah.
sound similar. Um,
Yeah.
I don't, again, I don't care, neither here nor there. I was just curious if, like, you
Yeah.
immediately caught it or anything. Cause, like, there's
Oh,
some
I
people,
100% immediately caught it, but I think like she definitely accomplished what she set out to do. She said like in some other interview that I've watched so many. She said that her goal with this song was for it to be really timeless. And
yes,
so to call back to something as far back as the Jackson
the Jackson
5, I think
5.
that
Yeah,
100% means that
totally.
you accomplished that. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, now getting into the lyrics of this song, which are equally silly, fun. Obviously, the quite literally the biggest thing in the song is
Please.
Travis and his manhood. And you know what? Good for you, Taylor. I
I love
love
this for
this for
you.
you. Good for
It's what you
you.
deserve.
It is like, and like, I don't think it's, I saw some people like, why is she singing about Travis Kelsey's
Everybody
peanut?
sings about sex. Can we not?
Like,
Like,
yeah, this is not a
like
new concept. Like, and like,
let the
I
girl
hate
get it
to,
good. I don't know.
I hate to like float the like the misogynistic part of it, but like, how many male singers, rappers are singing about fucking hoes and fucking bitches and I want a girl with a fat ass? Like, and she makes a joke about trap. Like, it's such a double standard in that sense, which she
Hmm.
always every woman like let's just put that on the like every woman experiences whenever Nicki Minaj's Anaconda, she got so much flack. She's like, I'm doing the same thing that every male rapper is doing. There's a
Yeah.
totally this is not groundbreaking information. This is very like bottom line
Right.
misogyny. But I'm just like, why is it such a problem? She's getting dick down. Good for her.
Yeah. It's like just let her have fun.
Yeah, but then
God.
going into the lyrics, I love the superstitious element to it. I think it is such a fun way to play into the way that everyone lives. You know, you see a penny on head, you pick it up. You don't step on a crack, you know, it's bad luck. You don't walk under a ladder. You don't break a mirror. Everybody lives in superstitious ways. And I think the way, similar to like Opalite, where she pulled kind of like a very, normal and like day-to-day thing that like like you can everyone does and everyone you jinx, knock on wood, whatever, like
Hmm.
things like that, the way that she kind of plays it into and weaves it into her life and her situation and everything. Like, I think it's just like a fun spin to do it, and like I think it's very clever. The opening line though, Daisy's bare naked, I was distraught, he loves me not. Like, Taylor is legitimately that girl, and I say that respectfully. Like, she is the girl who probably like saw a guy in the playground who she fell in love with, and then picked up a daisy and was like, he loves me not. And I just love that she leans into it. It gives that innocence of debut and Fearless again, where it's like, no, it is as simple as this. She just wants love.
Yes. And I think that Daisy's Bare Naked, I was distraught, he loves me not is honestly a fucking bar and it's getting overlooked because of the content of the
Totally.
rest of the song.
Yes.
And I'm just like so obsessed with the imagery that she's like picking petals off flowers over and over again and it's always the same result, he loves me not,
Yeah, and she says
until
it
Travis
twice.
comes
So it's
along.
clear that she's like saying this is like
Yes.
not the first time she's done this. Like he loves me not,
Exactly.
he loves me not. Like she's done this before and like it's happened so many times. And I think it's such fun imagery for her to play with. And I think a lot of these things are very, they're like cliche, superstitious. They're kind of, and again, I say this with love, but they're a little like childlike and kiddish, but like that's what she's leaning into. She's like, I feel like a kid again because I'm in love with this
Mm-hmm.
guy who acts like a child in an adult's body in a good way, not
Yeah.
immature, but like he is
Yes.
fun, he's silly, he's, has this like charisma about him, And I'm like, no, this is so telling of like how she sees her life now because she's like, I don't have to be so uptight and I don't need to be the cool girl who's like reading all the whatever. Like I can just be and enjoy my life. And like
Mm-hmm.
I think this song is getting so much flack because she is singing about something so risque that like everybody does. It's like, well, people have sex, crazy. I'm like, you're missing great lines. Like it's fun.
Yes.
And then, like, of course, I think the line that really is like, and even I can admit, like, his love was a key that opened my thighs. Even when I first heard it, I was like, that's a little, I was like, not that I disliked it, but I was like, yeah, okay, like, whatever. But then, like, I think it's like no more cringy than Karma is a cat purring my lap. Haters gonna hate, 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 hate. Like, she's always given us this cringe, and she's always a millennial and cringy and like been a little embarrassing. And I say embarrassing not in a way to say like she's embarrassing, but like she does like to like
Societally, that's how
make a
people view it. And
fool. Yeah,
it's,
she likes to like be silly and like have these like kind of embarrassing lines that like show that she's a real human being, but kind of shows
yes.
that she like is just a person, even though she is Taylor Swift and the biggest whatever. Like she's just a girl.
She's literally just a girl. I think, yeah, you're right, though. It's like, it's very par for the course with all of her other, like, unserious glitter gel pen songs. This isn't anything new. So everyone kind of freaking out. I'm like, you clearly don't go here.
Yeah,
Like,
like it's
you
nothing.
clearly don't go here. And same with Forgive Me, It Sounds Cocky. I'm
Oh,
sorry. That is
so
hilarious.
fucking funny. It's so
She's so
good.
funny.
It's hilarious. And like she knows it, Like it's
Yes.
so
It's
it's
supposed to be. Like, that's
and
the
these are the
intent.
like
And
these
I
are the
think,
jokes
like,
that I'm making at a wine night with my girlfriends. Like we're like
yes.
having wine and it's like, oh, sorry if that sounds cocky, but like I hooked up with it's like you're making these silly jokes and it's like we can all admit that we make bad jokes. Like that's what makes life fun. You make silly
Right.
jokes, you say stupid shit, and it's like it's not that serious.
And I think like when we talk about things like this, it's like, yes, it's supposed to be funny. And even if you don't think it's this groundbreaking thing lyrically, that's fine, but at least appreciate it for what it is because it's supposed to be that way.
Yeah,
Like
she's
the thing
leaning
that you're
in.
not liking is intentional. So just say, "All
Right.
right, yeah, you did what you accomplished the thing that you set to do. So
Right,
I have to at
exactly.
least appreciate it, you know?"
Yeah. We also get a New Heights mention on this song, which I think is so fun that she says that your love brought me to new heights. Still, the fact that she announced this on the podcast is the craziest thing to me in the most complimentary way. Like, it is just
Hmm.
so. The way that this podcast has become such a driving force in their relationship, from the friendship bracelet call out to Taylor going on it to them getting engaged after they recorded it, like, it really is so wild that like he had a podcast mic, a friendship bracelet, and a dream, and now look at where we are. It's just I
Hmm.
love it. And I say like I say that it could come off derogatory, like I can't believe she did it on a podcast. Like no, I love that she did it. I think it is incredible, but it's just like
Yes.
it's so fun to see her like mesh their worlds together so effortlessly.
Effortlessly. Wow, look at that.
Look at us.
Oh my God. So true though. I think
um
like,
yeah, yeah.
just announcing it on the podcast, it's like it's casual and the
Yeah.
the whole album is much more casual, has a much more casual vibe than what we've seen
Yeah.
from her over the last like 5 or so years. So I think
And
it
even
all matches up so perfectly.
even if you look back to like 1989 and Red announcements, that was not that far. She doesn't have a microphone and headphones on. That was a podcast. She
Yeah.
sat with fans on a live stream
Yep.
Very similar vibe, you know. It's just
Yep.
now like seeing this literal marriage, but also like marriage of like their lives together is so fun to me.
Yep.
Um, the line she said that you and me forever dancing in the dark. I just think it's I don't think this has anything to do with it, but I just thought it was funny that like one of her most like coveted songs and lyrics is dancing in the kitchen in the refrigerator light. And now she's like, no, we're dancing in the dark. Fuck that refrigerator. Like she's like, nope, I'm good. I'm in the dark. I don't need the refrigerator light. I don't need that scarf that I left
Turn
at
the
that
lights off, actually.
yeah, she's like, I don't need the scarf that I left at that fucking Scrubs house. Like, I'm good. I got my man. We are good to go. And I love fun pop music. Like, this
Hmm.
song isn't groundbreaking. It's not changing my life. It is not going, it's not going to go down in like the history books of pop music. But does every song have to? No. You know,
Right.
like
And maybe if she makes it a single, maybe it will because it is
maybe,
catchy
yeah,
as
yeah,
fuck. But
right,
I
totally,
mean, and truly, like Taylor Swift, if you ever hear this, I'm so happy for you, girl.
yeah, good for
And that's if
you.
that should be what we're taking away from this. Like,
Yeah,
girl, I
like
am so
sex
happy for you.
positivity. Everyone wants to be sex positive until someone talked about it.
So, you know what? So true.
Like we're all sex positive, sex workers should be whatever. Like cool, good for Taylor.
Yeah.
Like
It's
I
what you deserve, queen.
yeah,
So happy for you.
truly. All right, moving on to track 10. We're making much better time than our first episode. I'm so
Oh my
proud of
God.
us. Canceled. So keeping it like fully real as I've been doing. I don't really love this song other than the chorus. And it's not because I know some people think this is cringy and it's like, how could she admit that she likes people who are canceled, which I think you're just missing the point. Like, whatever. I
Right.
just another one that just doesn't sit with me like in terms of like sonically I enjoy it. It's a little unsettling. Um but it's again, it's not bad by all means, and I understand why this is on the album, you know?
Yes, it sits like pretty middle of the road for me, but I just do think that this song is like so reputation coded in terms of like that darker sound.
Yes,
And
100%.
I love that sound on her. I like yearn for more of it.
Totally.
And so I love the way that it sounds. I understand the critiques of in terms
Yeah,
of like people not loving it as much, but I think it was certainly purposeful
it
to
serves a
be placed
purpose,
here.
100%.
Yep.
I mean, like I'm on one point, like I'm on one hand, excuse me, I'm shocked that she's even like bringing up the implication. She doesn't obviously, there's no way to tie this to a person as many of these songs are, but like when you look at her life over the last year or so, when this album was written, Blake Lively, the Brittany Mahomes of it all, like there are some people that you can clearly point out in terms of like who this is about and like the way that like Blake wasn't at the Super Bowl and Blake hasn't been around and things like that, which I immediately was like, oh my God, are they not friends anymore? Like something happened. And like this kind of comes in and kind of, to me at least, kind of gives us this idea of like, no, like we're fine. Like me and, you know, like her and Blake are a different type of friendship. I feel like they're on that level where it's like a whole different understanding of each other. But I'm shocked that she would even kind of like allude to this situation in that light. You know what I mean? But it does serve the purpose of that. Like she's like, hey, just so you know, like we're good.
Yeah, I think so the girl boss too close to the sun lyric is getting a lot of flack, but
Yeah.
actually that is a direct reference to Blake Lively. That's a headline that Candace Owens said about Blake Lively.
Oh shit. I
It
didn't know
is,
that.
yeah, I didn't know that either until I was reminded on the internet and then I went back and I
Yeah.
watched the video where she says it and I'm like, "Oh, is that like quite literally was she qu not just putting that in the song, but was she quite literally quoting it?" And
Okay,
I
that
think
makes
it's
more
certainly
sense.
possible. Like,
Oh, 100%.
yeah. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. Did not know that.
I know.
I don't subscribe to, not that you do, but like Candace
Absolutely
Owens
not.
truly does not come across my desk at all. And like you are much deeper in like where you would get Taylor references from people, you know, like I don't get all the Taylor, like Easter eggs and things on my timeline. I just don't like go as deep, which like I love that you do because you bring things like that to my knowledge. So that makes sense why you would see that and I wouldn't. But
Yes.
that is
I didn't
very
catch it on
interesting.
my own. I
Yeah,
credit
no,
to
totally.
whoever put it
Yeah.
on the
But
internet
that
because
makes
that's where
total
I saw it.
sense.
But I
Yeah.
when I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, because that lyric specifically is getting so much flack because
So much
I think
flack.
that is like the cringiest thing anyone could possibly say.
Totally.
But I think it's kind of Taylor being like, you guys will really say anything.
Yeah, no, literally. Like
Yeah.
you will just tap on your little keyboard warriors.
Yes.
And kind of similar to like the like where you're like, I don't subscribe to the Candace Owens of it all. Like I also am not like I have my opinions on Britney and like I don't know how I necessarily feel about their friendship and all of that. But like again, we don't know these people. And like
Hmm.
I'm not gonna be like Taylor Swift's a bad person because she's friends with Brittany Mahomes like that. I that's not my prerogative, you know? And like, I do understand some people who maybe if you're not a fan of Taylor and you see her with her and it gives you a bad taste, I can understand that. That is sure. If you are coming at it from a lens of like, already am not a fan of Taylor and now I'm seeing this and it puts a sour taste. Like as somebody who was a fan of Taylor and like I said, I've seen her be so vocal about certain things over the years, time and time and time and time and time and time and time again. Do we not like the whole only the young? Like she's been very vocal about all of these things. So like I think she's just in a situation now where she is surrounded by some people who maybe aren't as like-minded or favorable and like it's not the way I live my
Well,
life, but you're allowed to be friends with who you want to, you know? And like if
right. And I think like when we talk about stuff like this, and this is the part that drives me crazy. It's like one, first and foremost, we don't know these people. And two,
like,
like
I can't stress enough. None of us know these people.
none of us know these people.
And one
And
more
like
time, none of us know these people, just in case you missed it.
and two, like, none of us, we have to remember and apply a little bit of nuance here. None of us will ever understand what it is like to
No.
be someone that has no idea who we can trust. So simply, like, I think the priorities around friendships are just going to be a little bit different for somebody who's like, hey, this person actually is really trustworthy. And I feel like, can you imagine like what would have happened if like the Wags tried to like take Taylor in and Taylor was like, no. Then it
Yeah,
would have been a
right.
whole other narrative
They
about
would have
how
been on
Taylor
their
Swift was a bitch.
stories,
So
post.
like,
Yeah, exactly.
like it's just not like we have to remember like we are Taylor Swift is in a significantly different position than any of us, and she has just different priorities about this stuff
And
that we will never understand.
I also like don't put her on a pedestal in terms of like she doesn't get a pass because she is Taylor Swift. Like she obviously has to be a morally good human, but
Hmm.
she hasn't like she's not doing anything outside of like seeing her at a game or like at a party. Like we don't know the length of their
Yeah.
friendship. Like they're gonna be in the same rooms together. Why make it awkward? Like why not
Yeah.
be
Like
friends? And like
what's the purpose? And like,
yeah.
I don't
And
know.
maybe
And
they
you know
do
what?
hang
Even
out
if
otherwise. And that's not I don't care. Like
I don't care.
I
Like
don't know
why
these
do we
people.
care? And why is it always when Taylor Swift hangs out with somebody like who's historically more conservative, why is it always like, "Oh, Taylor Swift must be a conservative and not that other person is maybe more liberal than you think?"
Yeah.
Why is it always that way? Why can we
Right.
never flip it? And
Well, yeah.
it just drives me crazy,
No,
truly.
it's nuts. But moving on to the chorus of this song.
Back to the
Um,
song,
yeah,
sorry.
right. No, this is all related. You're good. Again, just acknowledging that you're a billionaire and saying I like them dripped in Gucci and in Scandal. Yeah, you're rich. I love it, and thank you for bringing that to the forefront and reminding us that like we a do not know this person and b you are on a different tax bracket that I can't even see. I will never get anywhere close, and I love that for you. The bridge I think is the strongest part of the song for sure. It's so haunting. It's very reputation coded. It has that like you said that haunting kind of dark
It's like I
production
did
to
something
it.
bad on the Rep Tour.
Yes,
Yeah, the
exactly.
Rep Tour version. Yeah.
Exactly that. And then those last few lines, she says, "Can't you see my infamy loves company? Now they've broken you like they've broken me, but shattered glass is a lot more sharp. Now you know exactly who your friends are. They're the ones with matching scars." She's been in these situations before. You know, she's been the butt of the joke. She's been the one who was getting the shitty headlines written about her. She's had situations similar to this before that people go through, so she's like, now we have matching scars and like we can talk about it. And also like cancel culture unfortunately is not real. There was a time in
Hmm.
our lives where maybe it was, and there are some people who have gotten canceled, but look at half of the people. You open up YouTube right now and you will scroll down for a recommended thing, and half of those people have been canceled for crazier things than any of this,
Yeah.
and they all bounce back. Maybe not everybody supports, and I support that. There are people who I will not watch, listen to anymore because of certain things, but Chris Brown is selling out stadiums.
Which is baffling.
So like,
Like,
if you're
it's not
gonna
comparable. Like,
no, like it's
like,
just like, unfortunately, cancel culture is not real. And it just kind of is this thing on the internet that is like fear mongering. And I think the song serves a great purpose on the album. Sonically, just like isn't a song that I want to listen to. Like, and that's not, again, art is subjective. Not a bad song because there's no such thing as a bad song. Everybody can have a different opinion on things. But I think it serves a purpose on the album. And I think especially on an album in which she is so willing to poke the bear, as I keep using as
hmm.
my reference. Why not? Absolutely. Do it. You know, it makes sense.
Yes. And honestly, I would love a music video for this song.
Yeah, I think that's a
Releasing as a single, I think would be
solid,
such a power move. But I think a music video with like cameos from her canceled friends, I'm like picturing her like shredding down a hallway,
like a la
and
Bad
then
Blood.
yes, yes, very much like Bad Blood, like reminiscent. But then like at the Can't You See My Infamy Loves Company, they all just kind of like started to
Yes,
like file
totally.
in behind her.
Yeah,
I think it would be genius. Taylor,
yeah.
get Mandy Moore on the phone. We can conference
Let's do
call.
it.
I have
Yeah.
ideas.
I have
So
Zoom. We can, we can all get together. We can chit chat. I think this could be something fabulous.
I think it'd be great.
All right, moving on to track 11, Honey. This is my favorite song on the album. It makes me want to run through a wall. It makes me feel like I am on top of the world, and it has been my favorite from the first listen, and I do not think it's getting enough appreciation as it deserves. I fucking love this song. It is fun, it's catchy, it's sticky, it's just I love this song so much.
It has grown on me so much in the last couple weeks. It's now like sitting at first it was a little forgettable at first, but the more I
Yeah.
listen to it, nope, it's incredible. It's I
Yeah.
don't know what past me was thinking. And I
Taylor's
think
really good at putting a song towards the end of an album and like
mhm.
it not you've had so much of an album to digest that you kind of forget about. I think about like this is why we can't have nice
Yeah.
things that sits
Yeah.
towards the end, and that song was one of my favorites from the jump. It didn't get as much recognition, and then as years went on, people started to appreciate it more. I think she puts these songs at the end and they're like growers on people, and I think
Yes,
this is
and
going to be one of
they
those
keep you coming
songs.
back like, "Oh, I want to keep listening to the album all the way through so I can get to that song." I think it's very
Yes.
smart.
Yeah,
And I think this song too, like nobody yell at me, but this song definitely has some R&B influence. And
totally.
I think it works so well and it's kind of a sound that we've never really heard from her in that way.
Yeah.
And I really am so obsessed with this song. It's grown on me
It's
so much.
It's so good. It's so good.
I love it.
Um, the very beginning, I didn't catch it my first listen or two, but then when I listened with headphones, there's show she does like the "you can call me honey if you want because I'm the one you want," and then there's a snare drum that's like very
hmm
faint and it's like tss,
There are
boom,
some really
anybody.
interesting instruments throughout. There's like a
It,
flute or like a
yes,
clarinet somewhere at some point. I'm like,
yeah.
what were y'all doing in that studio? But
They
I'm
were
not mad about
just
it.
whatever's going on in Sweden. They're just like, let's pull this out
Just
and
like a
try this.
recorder. Like I'm
Yeah,
just picturing like
literally.
Max Martin with like I don't know.
And no, fully. And that snare drum just like it it like winds you up for the song. And like this is one of the more like upbeat moments on the album, I feel like. And it just has this like way, it's like a little detail that like if you blink, you'll miss it. If you're not listening for it, you won't hear it. But if you haven't noticed it, listen to the song with headphones, turn it up a little more than you usually would. But there is this little snare drum and it just goes right into her vocal right after. And I just think it winds the song up perfectly. And I love that little detail. It is so incredibly done. And I love the sentiment of this song, the way that like honey and sweetheart can be used so condescendingly, but also so endearing from the right person. You can call somebody honey in a sense of like being rude to them. Like she says, like, oh, I was too close to her man at the bar. Oh, sweetheart, that skirt doesn't fit you. But then somebody can come into your life and call you honey or sweetheart. And it is so endearing and loving. And one of the big themes on this album is that like she really does kind of see like life BT and AT, before Travis, after Travis. And like this after Travis, she's really able to kind of digest so many things that she didn't think she could in the past. She didn't think marriage was I forget what song is on, but she was like, I used to say I didn't believe in marriage. I was
hmm
lying, like she has
Yes.
so many things that she kind of like gave up on or like wrote off, and now she's like, oh no, I get to do this now. And like I just think
hmm
it's a really cute and sweet thing that she's sharing with us.
Yes, I think it's like I didn't think that I liked when people called me honey and sweetheart because they never meant it, but then just having
Yeah.
someone that genuinely means it to you, like it completely shifts the meaning. And so like she says redefine all of those blues. Like think
Yes.
of all the times she's used the color blue in her songs to
Yeah.
describe like being sad in her music before. And
Yeah.
now like she's literally talking about in the most literal sense, like how Travis has taken these same words and like made them mean something completely different.
Totally.
And
Yeah,
I just love it. And
absolutely.
I also love the like white teeth lyric, like standing in the bathroom, white teeth,
Yeah.
because it implies like they're kind of like baring their teeth, like, ooh, like,
Yeah,
whatever,
they're
that
like,
skirt doesn't look good. But then it's also kind of saying, like, are they saying that with a smile because they're happy to bring her down?
right. Oh, totally.
And
Yeah.
I
They're like
love
they're
the
like
imagery there.
waiting with
And
bated breath to be like, oh, by the way, that doesn't fit.
right, yeah, like they're like, like, I think that's like societal. Like people always want to like take her down a peg. And she's like, but actually now I have somebody that like means like does literally the opposite of that.
No, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
I love it.
Um, she when she goes into the first chorus, she says, "Summertime, springs, pink skies," and the way that she says like the summer, like that, like break, it scratches an itch in my brain. I love it so much. And then also right after that, she says, "Winter green kiss all mine." So she's showing the passing of time with this person. That this person isn't just a moment in time. Like they're going through seasons together, from summer to winter. They have summertime sprints. They have pink skies. Now there's winter green. This kisses. Like they're showing all these different kind of phases with each other. So again, it's showing that life living together and how it's becoming this more comfortable situation, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Um, Also, she said, "You could be my forever nightstand." It's the most romantic way to say we're gonna have sex forever. Like it is such a beautiful way to be like, "You're my." And I there's like a joke on TikTok. I mean, I don't know if it's from like a show or something, but like someone's like, getting married is literally just like admitting to your friends like you're gonna sleep with one person for the rest of your life. And I'm like, that's what she's saying. It's like it's literally like this like I don't know what it's from or like the reference. So if it is from something, I don't know, but I see it on TikTok a lot. But it's just such a fun romantic way to be like, no, like this is my forever nightstand.
Yes, it's giving the carve your name into my bedpost from
Yes,
Dress, like
totally.
how taking the notch on your bedpost is just like someone that you sleep with to carve your name into my bedpost because I want this
Yeah,
forever.
totally.
So
And
I
even if
love
you
it.
think back to I Knew You Were Trouble, a new notch in your belt is all I'll ever be. Same idea
Mm-hmm.
of like you're just passing time with that, but like bedpost, nightstand. It's like she's been
Yes, it's like
waiting
this
to be a
permanence.
more permanent thing.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah, I
Yep.
love it. Similar to what you said with like the R&B flow of it. There's like a flow in the words in the pre-chorus where she says, "When anyone called me honey, I was standing in the bathroom, white teeth." That part really just has this nice cadence and flow to it that just feels so. It's like that meme when people are like, "I love when Taylor just goes on and on and on." It's like that kind
Mm-hmm.
of vibe where she just like keeps almost rambling. Love that. And a lot of the vocal styling on the song reminds me of Reputation, like where she says, "Of your eyes." It's very, that's why we can't have nice things, like of Gorgeous. Gorgeous had a lot of like that, like kind of like exaggerated lyrics and kind of like
Mm-hmm.
the cadence is like a staccato with it, like summertime. Like she does like the breaking of it. Like it's very Max Martin, very Shellback in that sense. So I really
Mm-hmm.
felt like this song really showcased it, not showcase as much because they do a lot of obviously their general stylistic on the album, but it really was the biggest like callback of what I wanted from this album, from that playlist. If we want to bring that back up, that idea of like, oh, they are still there, and there are those remnants of them, but like she couldn't just release the same album that she's done before. She needed to give us a new sound. So
Yes.
finding the piece in the little callbacks to what she did in the eyes and the staccatos and things like that is where I'm like, okay, no, I see what she's doing when she means she had to work with them on this album.
Yes. And quickly before we move on, also some of the lyrics on this album or this song, I mean, low key freaky. And if you look at the
Yo, yeah,
the the lyric video, she's laying on the bed in the video and the bed is broken.
yeah.
I don't know if everybody noticed that. If you didn't notice, go
Oh,
back and
I
look.
saw. Uh-huh.
It's I
Yeah.
again, as we said before, I love this for her.
She is living her damn life. And you know
I
what?
d-
I love that.
I love this for her.
And now we have made it to track 12 because, to our surprise, there was only 12 tracks on this album and she wasn't lying and we didn't get a double album like last time. We have made it to the title track, "The Life of a Showgirl," featuring Sabrina Carpenter. So when I initially listened to this, similar to what I've been saying, my biggest gripe with it was when I see Taylor Swift, Sabrina Carpenter, I think true bubblegum pop music. I'm thinking 2010s Katy Perry, 1989 Taylor Swift era, really espresso poppy music, and it wasn't that. However, again, I have now gotten over all of this, and you can change your mind on things and you can grow. And after seeing the movie and hearing the lyrics more and listening to it, it is really the perfect way to end this album and really round it out. And I just have to give a quick shout out to my best friend Ashley because I know she's listening. On October 3rd, 2025, I said, "What is your favorite song on the album?" And she said, "The Life of a Showgirl." And I said, "What the fuck do you mean this is your favorite song on the album?" And I like pressed her for it. And she was like, "No, it's my favorite song on the album." Like, and I stand by it. And you know what? I got to give you your credit where credit is due. So just, making sure that I am crossing my T's, dotting
Perhaps a
my
little
I's.
ahead of her time.
And she, you know what? And I've known her since I was 11 years old and she always has been. So let's wake that
It
up.
it really is genuinely such a good album closer, and I think that this is one of those like storytelling songs from her.
Yes.
And it's like I think it is just truly like there's not a better album closer. I think this is one of her best. Same to how The Fatal Ophelia is one of her best like opening tracks. I think this is one of her best closing tracks in terms of like wrapping it up and
I think
like closing the book.
this album has a really good track list order. Like
It's
it
perfect.
tells the story really well, where we're not getting Travis after a
Yes.
song. We'll get like two or three Travis songs and then a song about like her dead ex from high school. We'll get two or three Travis songs. We get a song about like Brittany Mahomes and Blake Lively, like we'll get a little mix up here and there. And like I say that lovingly, but like she did a good job of like breaking it up. And I appreciate that like she ended on a note of a song that is about her, because at the end of the day, like obviously this is about Taylor and Travis, such a big part of that, but it is nice that like it's ending in a sense that like, hey, this is about my career. And this whole idea of like the showgirl Kitty warning her to not become a showgirl, so reminiscent of like, I'm sure when she started out, people were like, you don't want to do this. I'm warning you, like, don't join the music business. It's going to be rough. But she did it anyway. And like, look at where we are now.
Yeah, I think that this is like the grown-up version of songs like The Lucky One and Claire
Yep.
Bow, like kind of when you realize that you've made it and you've like accepted it and embraced it, whereas The Lucky One and Claire Bow are kind of coming from like I made it, but man, this is tough. It's like, well, this song is like I made it and it is tough. You're right, but it's actually really great too.
Yeah, like I love what I've built. And I say this all the time on the podcast, and I will say it to the day I die. Sabrina Carpenter is truly the perfect pop star, like textbook definition of what a pop star should be, from the aesthetics, from the sound to the attitude. Like she just has it all figured out. And I think that's a credit a lot to people like Taylor, like Miley, who came before her, who she saw be these childhood stars and get kind of ridiculed for things. And she was like, oh, I'm going to take this and make it a joke. Like she has truly been able to
Hmm.
watch all of these women that she admires so much grow up over time. And not that like she doesn't go through hard things. Of course she does. But like she's able to take things and make a joke out of it. Where I think Taylor and Miley kind of struggled with not knowing how to take the criticism and lashing out like with the bangers, or with Taylor going into hiding for all these months during Reputation. Like they didn't know how to cope with this. So seeing, the welcoming of Sabrina by somebody as monumental as Taylor Swift, it's just nice. And Taylor even said herself, like, there is nobody else to put on this song than Sabrina because of that
Hmm.
reason. She is born to be famous. Like
She's like
she
learned the lessons already.
Yes, she was
Yes.
meant to be famous, and it's so fun to see the kind of call back and forth.
Yes, and Sabrina, like she is the moment. Like you're right.
Yeah,
She is the
totally.
perfect pop star. She's having such a moment right now, and I think she's going to have so much longevity. And
Yes.
so she is just the perfect collaborator on the song, and not only just because of the vibe or the meaning of it all, but also she sounds incredible
Oh,
on the
unbelievable.
song.
Her vocals, she's always been a great singer, but I think she's really found her perfect range.
Hmm.
I think she really thrived in that like kind of lower range and then giving us a little bit like higher
Hmm.
sometimes, but she really thrives in this like range, lower register she sings in. It just sounds so beautiful with her voice. The bridge of this song sounds like Pasek and Paul produced it, which I don't know if you know who Pasek and Paul are, like things that they've done. They did Greatest Showman, Dear Evan Hansen, La La Land. Like they are like Pasek and Paul are like the creme de la creme when it comes to like musical theater producers.
This is so funny because I didn't know this, but The Greatest Showman, I would literally talking about the bridge of this song. I said
It
exactly that the bridge reminds me of The Other Side, the song
Yes,
that Zac Efron
Zac
and Hugh
Efron's
Jackman
on the
sing in the
bar.
bar. I'm
Yep.
like, it's
No.
the same. So that is
Yes.
great. These
So
I am so glad I was on point with that.
100%. Yeah. So Pasek and Paul are like legendary musical producer, like a pair, whatever. And like it sounds like they produced it. And like I geek out about them on the podcast regularly to any of my usual listeners. You're like, oh, here we go, talking about Pascal Paul again. But like when you're good, you're good. Like they just know what they're doing. And this is just, it's so fun. It's so silly and whimsical and theatrical, and it just like makes my theater kid heart sing. It's just so rich and fun and just lighthearted and like not so
Hmm.
serious.
The bridge literally makes me want to like run around the room. Like it is
Yeah.
so much fun. And I think lyrically there's so many gems in it. Like I took her pearls of wisdom and hung them from my neck is
Yes.
so
So
good.
clever.
I
So
love that.
clever.
It's so clever. And this like this little I don't want to call it a jab because I don't think the intent, but the bitches who wish I'd hurried up and
Yes.
die. I'm immortal now, baby dolls. I couldn't if I tried. It's like,
Yeah.
it's just here we are. It is
You
what it is.
tried, but
And
I'm not going anywhere. Yeah.
yeah, so you might as well just live with it. I love it.
Yeah,
I
it's
love it
so
so
great.
much.
I love it. The storytelling of, it goes from her wanting like being at the stage door, wanting to be a showgirl, talking to the showgirl. So then it flips, and now they're singing in first person, and they are the showgirl, and it's the life that they know what it is, and they're living it, but they love it. And like, yeah, it's hard and it's rough, but like that's showbiz, baby.
Yep. And saying at the end, I wouldn't have it any other way, like going back to saying like this is my life now, I embrace it.
Yeah,
I've made it, I'm embracing it, and despite all of its challenges, I wouldn't do anything else. And
totally.
I love that flip from because we have heard so many songs like that touch on the struggles of fame. The Lucky One, Clarabow, I think Coney
Yeah,
Island
yeah.
talks about it too. Like,
So
so to
many. She
finally
does it
have
all the
this,
time. Yeah.
yes, and to finally have a song where she's like, but I think we said this before, like I think being in, and I hate to make this song about a man, and I'm not doing that, I promise.
Yeah.
But
No.
like when we talk about ha being with somebody who is so okay with your level of fame, I
Yes.
wonder if that almost like allows her to be like, no, but I can know that I did it and ha like be super proud of it from and know that everyone in my life backs me
Yes.
this way
Yes.
now.
100. Absolutely. And like
Yeah.
when like we bring the man into it, as we're saying, like we don't want to, it's like there is also truth in like Taylor wouldn't be who Taylor is right now if she didn't. And it's not because Travis made her a better person, whatever, but like she was able
Right.
to find this like peace within like, oh, I can just be me, and I can be
Hmm.
Taylor Swift and still be loved, which is something that she struggled with. So like, yeah, I hate to, bring a man into it, but like she's telling us that like this is the truth. This is what happened, like
Yeah.
and like that's fine. She is still herself, and she's very independent in the sense of like she is Taylor Swift. Like I'm sure it's going to be Taylor Swift and Travis Swift. Like she's not changing her last name. Like there's gonna, she's going to always be Taylor Swift, and she has created this as her own. And I think the fact that she has this legacy that she's created over 20 years we're coming up on next year, which makes me feel absolutely ancient. Like she did all of that, and now she has the man that she's been dreaming of. It's not like she needed him to get there. It's just like he ironed out a few kinks that she had to figure out with herself, which I think is not a bad thing to do. A partner's supposed to help you find those pieces of yourself. So I think it's
Right.
it's a good thing. And then I mean ending the song with the Eras Tour audio, like come on. Come
I
on.
mean,
Nah.
like the perfect way to end it because I mean she
Genius.
really is the ultimate showgirl.
Totally.
I love her
Absolutely.
so bad, and I would also like to politely request a music video for this song as well.
Yeah, I would love I think like her and Sabrina it would be so much fun. Like it would
The
just be
storytelling, like I'm picturing
yeah.
like I think it's the Wildest Dreams music video where she comes out of the car and she's in like this old-timey look and there's cameras
Yes.
flashing
Yep.
everywhere.
Hmm.
I'm picturing that, but like maybe like a sepia tone, and that's like
I
the
picture
kitty coming out, and then like Taylor, like young Taylor is like
yeah,
like in the background trying to get her
almost like
attention.
a marriage of like the of that part of that video, and then the oh my gosh, I'm blanking on her name. Dita, the burlesque dancer in the Bejeweled video when they're in the
Oh,
martini
yes, yes,
glasses,
yes, yes, yes,
like
yes.
that whole like those essences. I just feel like there could be such a beautiful
Absolutely.
marriage in that.
Hmm.
And that's the life of a showgirl. We did it, and not in three
We
hours
did
this
it.
time. I'm so impressed. I don't know. I think it's been like 2 hours, but you know what? That is better than three.
And that's I do yap a lot about Taylor
So do
Swift.
I, and
So
like
honestly,
there
a
was a
win is a
lot
win.
to get into. So as we wrap up, overall thoughts from me, like I keep saying, I went into this album with very high expectations, and that is on me. Like that is my own fault. It is what it is. Like I can whatever. I was very prepared for this album to shake up my album ranking. And I will say, I don't know that it has done that for me. Like, I don't think it hasn't touched my top like 3 or 4 Taylor albums, but it definitely ranks higher than other albums. And this is going to hurt you, but like, I definitely is higher than Folklore, Tortured Poets, Evermore for me. Cause sonically, it fits me more, which like isn't a shock. But it doesn't mean it's a bad album. Like I said, I do think it is a great album. I think it is a lot of fun. I have come around to it so much more. And I just think people need to learn how to have fun and like enjoy music that isn't going to like be groundbreaking every single time. There's moments that are, and there's moments that aren't. And that's what makes an album an album. Like you've got to have, it can't just be a pop perfect album every single time. And like, that's fine. I think this album is so much fun. It gives us great insight into Taylor's life and where she is now. And I think she needed this album to kind of heal and like kind of tie up the strings from the Tortured Poets apartment because it was so sad. And so we were like,
Hmm.
that was the last thing we heard from her. We were like, oh my God, somebody put this woman on house arrest. Like, is she okay? And we're like, oh no, she's good. You know, she needed this to kind of, and I think it falls perfectly as the 12th album because obviously the 13th album, whenever that comes, I'm not rushing it by all means, but like whenever we get the 13th album, that's a big deal for Taylor. It's just,
Right.
that's huge. So I think it truly could not have come at a better time for this to be the 12th album, for all of these things to fall into place, and for her to like get ready for this next chapter of her life. And I don't mean that in like musical eras. I mean that just she's gonna get married. She's releasing the Eras Tour movie again. She's doing the docu-series. Like she has so much going on in her life. And I feel like this album really just completely puts it into it's like a journal entry from the last year from her, I feel like. And I think it was so important for her to release this now and get it out. And so she can kind of like like, hey, I was so depressed and I'm not anymore. And that's great.
Yes. I think for me, yes, I love the Torture Poets is my favorite album. Folklore Evermore are my like three and four. But even still, like while I am such like a deep lyric girly, I love looking up the dictionary. Like I pull out a
Yeah,
thesaurus for her like
of
immediately. I
course.
love doing it, and I love digging into those lyrics and getting like English teacher about it. I do.
Yeah.
But even still, this album for me is literally 10 out of 10. Not a single skip, no notes. And I think like this album is lyrically deep at times, and but like what people need to remember is like not everything that's deep also has to be sad.
Yes,
And
totally.
she described Travis on the podcast depth without darkness, and I think that that is the album. It is
Yeah, totally.
describing
That's
all
a
of
great
these
way to put
deep
it.
emotions, and it is just it isn't sad. And I don't know why people just want her to be sad all the time. Like she let the girl be happy, damn
Right.
it, and let her sing about it. And two, I think like a lot of the discourse about this kind of stems from it coming off of an album like Torture Poets, and that is so lyrically dense. And what I think we forget about Taylor Swift's discography, and we've said this over and over again on this podcast, like this, it's par for the course with the rest of her discography. Folklore, Evermore, Torture Poets, stuff like
Oh,
that. Those are the
those are the weird
outliers.
kids. Yeah, those
Those
are
are the
like
outliers.
yeah, like
Yeah.
where did you come from?
Yes, and I think that, you know, because those three are so recent and they occurred within such like quick succession of each other, like people kind of have amnesia about some of her
But
other
like
songs. And
even considering like Midnight's came between
yeah,
Evermore and Tortured Poets, and I'm like, did we
right.
not remember that? Like,
Yes, and that's not to say she's always been lyrically strong. Like Cold as You is literally on debut.
oh,
Like, she wrote that song when she was like 13.
right.
So she's always been lyrically strong. I'm not saying her other albums aren't lyrically strong. She's always been good. But I think that this album is lyrically strong too. It's just in a different way.
Yes, 100%.
And I think too, like, there's so many new people in this fandom, and like, I love that for her, and I'm so happy for her success. But like we said earlier, I do kind of miss it. And some of
Yeah.
these people, like, have to remember you cannot open a book on chapter 12 and understand the story.
No, absolutely.
So
You
you
can't,
have to,
yeah, you have to at least like understand the past and like know, like you need to listen to the ancient texts, if you will.
yes, exactly. And so you said earlier in the podcast about Fearless having some callbacks, and I said this to my friend earlier, and I actually might have said this to you, I don't remember, but I think like Fearless is like this iconic, like the most like Taylor Swift album. Like it is
Yes.
quintessential Taylor Swift, but I think it's like Old Testament Taylor Swift. And
It's
so if
that idea of
Fearless,
like I was saying, pre-lover, after
yes,
lover. They're two different
yes.
people.
For me, the split starts at Reputation personally, but I
Yeah.
totally get you.
Yeah.
But like I think if Fearless is like the most Taylor Swift album of like Old Testament Taylor, I think that this is the most Taylor Swift album of like New Testament Taylor that we've seen thus far.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's the most, she even said on Fallon, like she hasn't released an album where she recorded it feeling one way and released it
Hmm.
feeling the same way. Like she said, like she recorded Tortured Poets Apartment so depressed when it came out. She was happy. That's why she didn't want to do all the press and stuff. She was like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And she didn't need to, but she was like,
Right.
I don't want to talk. Like, I don't need to, you know? And even like you think like before that, Midnights, it was stories of 12 nights over or whatever, the however many tracks
13
over.
Sleepless Nights or
Yeah,
whatever it is.
yes,
Yeah.
thank you. 13 Sleepless Nights. Like those are times in her life over a different decade. Like this is
Yeah.
now the last year and change of her life that like she is so happy. So I think that totally tracks. I think that makes it gives us that same idea of when we were getting albums that we were getting every 2 years. It's a storybook of the last 2 years of her life. Maybe this is a year and a half. I would say like 2 years. I would say give or take, like whatever. It's like it gives us that chunk, it catches us up, and then like we can go on to whatever we can bask in it and enjoy it. We don't need a new album
Right.
yet. Like, please, I would honestly love like I'm gonna get shit for this. I would love like 4 or 5 years in between an album. Like, let the girl breathe. Let her. I don't want her to go away in that sense, but I
Yes,
want
I
her to
get what you're
like.
saying though.
She has released 6 albums in 5 years.
Yeah.
She's like, that's a lot. She's gone
Hmm.
through heartbreak. She's got like so like she's engaged. She's now in this new life of like going to football games and stuff. And like she definitely wants kids. We know that. And like again, this is so parasocial, but like I would be okay with like maybe not 5, maybe 3 to 4 years without an album. Let us sit with what you've given us for the last not just 20 years, but 6 years. Like we've had so much stuff, you know?
Yes, and I think a lot about this rollout was like a kind of a return to normalcy in that sense because it was the classic like August announcement, October release, like that
Yep.
she's done historically that
Yeah.
she hasn't really done recently.
Yeah.
And so I think it is kind of that return to normalcy. I think we will probably see a 2 year break.
Yeah.
And now I don't claim to know. That's just my
No,
certain
yeah. Yeah.
opinion,
And even that,
obviously.
like
But
2 years is fine. Like I
yeah,
want her to give us some time.
yeah,
Not that
and
I'm
herself time. I
That's
mean,
what I'm. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't get the Taylor fatigue. I know people do. I don't. And people get fatigue from everything, but like Taylor gets it a lot. I feel like I don't. She could release tomorrow, and I'd be
Hmm.
like, okay, cool, new album.
I would be
I mean, we got
pumped. Like
Folklore Evermore. What
months of each
for?
other.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
so close. So it's like, yeah, it was July to December, and it's like I'm fine with that. But I think for her sake, I'm like, we know you're happy. Bask in this, please.
Hmm.
Soak
Yeah.
this up and enjoy this moment because you'll never be in your engagement era again. You know, you'll
Right.
never be a fiance again. Like, enjoy it. Get out of
Hmm.
the studio. Live your life. And I think she is doing that. I think she is.
Yes.
I think we're good there. So to wrap it up, I believe we did this for Tortured Poets as well to give our top 3. I think it's a fun way to just kind of like give us our ranking on the album. I'm gonna go first with my top 3. Obviously, my number 1 is Honey, and it has been from first listen. I love it. It is just so fabulous. Number 2, Fate of Ophelia, without a doubt. I just think it is so strong. It is, like I said earlier, lyrically, sonically, everything about it just encapsulates this album so perfectly, and I just fucking love it. And then number 3 is Opalite because it is just, it's a fucking hit. It is a fucking hit. It is so good, and I love the messaging of it. I love sonically. I love the lyrical play in it. I just think it is perfection.
I think mine, number one, is obviously Father Figure.
Mm-hmm.
I adore that song so much. Career highlight.
Yeah,
Number two, Opalite. Like you
easy.
said, it's a hit. I think it's probably the next single, and as it
It
should
should
be.
be. Yeah,
It's a freaking hit.
yeah.
And then to pick a third is so hard. I'm like very torn between like Honey, The Fate of Ophelia, and Wood. But I
Yes.
think if you like gun to my head right now, I would say Honey.
Yeah, which is the right answer. No.
Yeah, of course.
Wood is definitely in my top 5, I would say. I don't
Yes.
know if it's top
Yeah.
3, but I mean, like I said, sonically, that is what I was looking for on this album. So like, it's so good.
Yeah. Not a bad song on the album. No skips. It's just
Yeah,
I love it so
I'm
much.
really happy that like I put my pride aside and was like, no, actually, like it was, they were wrong marketing, whatever, things like that. But I read into it. I had too high expectations, and I'm like, you know what? Next
And
time we
this
get
is
a
how it
Taylor,
always goes.
next time I get a Taylor announcement, I'm just not going to listen to any. I'm going to be like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to listen to it blind, whatever, and
This
we
it's how
will.
it always goes. People always come around. And
Yeah,
even like the
totally.
people that didn't like this album and were very vocal about that at first
Yeah,
on the internet, as they
yeah,
are, everybody is so punk. She was right.
yeah.
They're coming around too.
Yeah.
So
Well, and like I'll even admit, like I didn't. I posted a TikTok the day that it came out, and I fully said, I was like, this is not a bad album. I've never thought it was bad. I will say that. Like I can confidently say, like I knew it wasn't bad. I was just let down from my expectation standpoint of
right.
thinking it was
Yeah.
going to be that playlist, 12 tracks of that. So like the people who are now like it was terrible, it was bad, but now love it. I'm like, told you so. We knew that was going to happen.
Hmm.
I was just
Hmm.
confused with the marketing of it all. But you
Yes.
know
Yeah.
what?
I get you.
Not everybody can nail marketing every single time, and that's fine. That's why you figure it out as you go. But I think we have yapped enough for this episode. And do you have any closing thoughts or anything you want to add?
No, I mean, 10 out of 10 album. I love Taylor Swift. I love yapping about Taylor Swift with you. So thank you for having
Yeah,
me. I will
anytime. I can't wait for
anytime
the next
you
one in 2 to 3 years.
I can't wait. I can't wait. If we need a, just to remind the people that I still exist, we can yap
Of
about Taylor Swift
course.
at any point.
Maybe, oh my God, if we find anything about her wedding, we'll have to do we'll
Oh
do
my
like a
God.
fun, yeah. That'll be fun. Just like go through anything we learn
I
about
like
that.
I want them to do whatever they want, but I would die for a Vogue spread.
I know. I
Please.
know.
I
I
just
know.
want
It
to
would be It would be so good.
Selfishly,
Yeah.
I understand if we don't get it, and I respect it wholeheartedly. But
I know.
man,
It would be
selfishly,
so good.
oh, it'd be
It
so
would be
good.
so good. But that time will come when it comes. That being said, thank you guys so much for listening to this special episode of Too Pop to Handle. Thank you, Delaney, for coming on again. Again, the people wanted you so bad, and I'm so glad that we were able to make this happen and do it. Everybody listening, you guys will hear from me this week. I am doing a normal episode, so this is coming out on Monday. So tomorrow, from when we're recording this, is coming out on Monday. I will have my normal episode on Wednesday as well. So you will have to hear a lot from me this week. If you do not follow me on social already, I am at Too Pop to Handle across all platforms or at Andrew Nucatola across all platforms. Delaney, would you like to plug your Twitter or Instagram or whatever you want to plug there?
Yeah, all of my handles are at Delaney Rayanne. So follow
That
me. I love talking about Taylor Swift and also plenty of other things.
I
So
was gonna say she also like goes viral for fun takes all the time. So we love
I
to see
have gone
it.
viral more in the last year than I ever wanted to, but
Yeah.
it's fine.
But you know what? That's fine. I will have Delaney linked down below. I will have me linked down below. If you loved this album, make sure you go ahead and leave us your top three in the comments. I want to know what you guys are thinking. And as always, make sure you give us a big 5-star rating, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, follow. You guys know the drill. There are so many buttons to press. Do them all except for dislike. And that's all I ask of you guys. And with that, I will catch you guys on Wednesday. Bye.